Hello, everyone. This is Korak along with Brett for the American Riichi Mahjong League. Brett's been a little under the weather, but how are you hanging in there?
I am doing all right. Just been having an allergy attack all day, and you can definitely hear it in my voice, I'm sure. But I'm doing my best.
Well, we have a couple A2 matches. First of all, we have the one you see here, which is Andre, Luce, Gina, and Claire. The interesting storylines here, of course, Andre and Luce are very close to that A1 promotion slot, currently both in the top four, looking to hold, if not improve their positions. On the other end, you have Claire, who has been sitting at the bottom of the league for quite a while now, but has completely erased the difference. Was sitting at minus 190 not that long ago. And you just see someone like Claire being able to make up that kind of ground. You do that again, another 90 points, and you'd be sitting in a very comfortable ninth place.
So you could say that Claire is on a tear. I'm sorry.
Ricketts. Anyway, we'll see if she has her comeback arc continuing as we have passed the midpoint of the season. They're already 2 games into this particular session, so there's still plenty of time, but you're getting at that section of the season where you're going, I really don't want to be in those bottom four, and I really want to be in the top four because A2 will be expanded next season. So the more people you have, the harder it is to get those 4 promotion slots. But we have a game starting now, and Dealer has a pretty nice starting hand.
Ooh.
Potential Itsu, Adora, good shape, just in 4, 5, 6 Sonsku, but honestly not bad. And on the right, we have Chun pair, a whole bunch of pairs, honestly. Could go
Oh,
Toy Toy, but I think you just. Ooh.
I'm
Okay, we
sorry.
see across. Yeah, across we see an Onko of the East Wind and a bunch of pairs as well. Not much value, but could be pretty fast. On the left, we have pretty standard Pinfu hand as well. You'd love to upgrade that to some sort of 2, 3, 4 Sun Scoop, which require a lot of shifting in so.
Uh, I- are we
Uh,
lagging a bit here, or
yeah, I don't think Chune's a particularly hard discard. You normally drop the South, but okay, no, decides to drop the 9 for now. Normally you drop the South because A, there's one out. B, the hand is actually pretty good, but maybe thinking Honitsu at this point even. Ooh, and a second Dora. We'll see very quickly if
ooh,
that's the decision. Okay,
yeah?
it seems to be just going for
Oh
the Honitsu.
man,
Ooh, and Chun draw
another
on the
completed
right. Uh,
Anko.
Anko of Chun. It's going to be very hard to get Toy or honestly that much value out of the hand, but if you can, it's going to be very nice.
There's also a pair of Norths now in the left hand, in Claire's. That,
We have
of course, is
perfect
the seat one.
Ishan on the right and a nice little Ishan on the left.
Wow, hands are moving fast.
Yeah, all of a sudden, dealer's hand looks like the worst, which does tend to happen when you go for those super greedy Honitsus, but without any pairs, it's hard to see how that hand finishes. Ooh, Dora draw just immediately discarded by
Gee,
Claire. I think you just call it and does. But of course, by exposing that one so, you kind of tell the rest of the table it's either Yakuhai, Honitsu, Chinitsu, or of course both. Or rather, two of the three. Now you could take that 6 and go for the Tempai, but I like the greedy play here.
リーチ。
Across the way, though, we have Tempai for Ricci Tone.
Ooh, there's your pair.
And the 8's
ツモ。
pretty safe. Oh, there's the Apatsumo, Ricci Apatsu
Wow.
Sumo Tone. Don't need Niora with that. Pulls a nice little Mongon to start us off with, head into East 2. Dealer has kind of messy Chanta type hand. Not really what you're looking for. Maybe it gets a value. I don't think I like the 1-2. I think all the value here is going to be in Chanta. On the right, we have a pair
ポン。
of the East Wind, maybe Distant Hitsu and Mon, but looks pretty slow as well. Across the way, we have standard Pinfu shapes, but also a Hatsu pair. Again, I'm not seeing much value here. Maybe just call and go. On the left, we see a Haku call. And now pulling in a bunch of Mon tiles, you have the option to go for the Honitsu, sitting on that
ポン。
lone Shaw Dora as well.
And
See.
quite alone Shadora, as none of the others are in anyone's hand right now.
I mean, if it pairs up, you'll be absolutely thrilled with that shape. You're looking at
Of course.
Hanemon. But I mean, that's the type of okay,
See.
so here's the question. How greedy do you
Wow.
want to be? Super greedy.
Extremely. I
Hanemandre
like it.
going for the name, playing for the big hand here, because of course you already have the Haku Honitsu. You're looking to pull in the 9-mon, and then you'd be waiting on the Shaw for Harakatanki if you don't draw it yourself here for Hanemon. Across the way, we now have an Ishan 10.
See.
Hedging the bets by switching out the 3 peen for the Shun there. It's an obvious move, but it opens up another avenue for drawing in the tiles you need.
Oh, the 6 connects to a lot of stuff. I definitely would have kept the 6 around a lot more than the Chun. Sure, the Chun is reasonably live, so I guess you could just draw another one. There are 3 on the wall at this point. That's
See.
actually very surprising. Oh, let's see. Yeah, I'd much rather have Tempai right now. There's an interesting choice by Gina earlier to call the 3-pin. Maybe a late Tanya shift, but it'd be very hard to do because of that north pair. Ooh, and the
Tanya.
hand on the right is now getting very close, but seems to just be folding. Doesn't want to throw the south, doesn't want to throw the west. And there's one of those tunes that was missing, and I bet we're going to see it. It's going to come out. We're going to have 2 people waiting on Shaw Donkey, but there's only one, and it's in the hand of the right, and it's never, ever coming out.
No.
Especially now, absolutely selling out on Cheetoy. Ooh, could get tempted by the wider weight. You absolutely don't want to, and does stay disciplined and throws the 4 rather than the Dora there. Because with a hand like that, you can't fold. I mean, I guess you could throw the 5-6, but really? So the only remaining question is,
no.
can Gina do something here? No, Hanemandre is just sticking to the name. Hanemon or nothing. And unless someone makes a mistake, it'll end up being just the Tempai payments, but we will see if it turns out that way.
All these Monzu draws by Andre here.
Tempai now for Gina. Takes the 6-pin Tonki weight. There's only one left. Oh, good con here.
Do it. I want to see it.
No, decides not to tell everyone that it's a Tonki weight.
Yeah, I guess that would make it extremely obvious that it's the Shaw weight if it's not already.
Or calls the Tonki weight? I'm shocked. At this point, you just have to go. You just go. Man, you're throwing the 1, obviously. The question is, will he get Chi to change who gets the last draw? Doesn't, and I think we're going to end up with 3 players Tempai here.
Yep.
And we do. Lush, who had won the first hand with the Mongon, pays up 3,000, and we get everyone a little bit closer to 30,000 again. Dealer has a Hatsu, Hatsu, Dora, bunch of floaters, maybe very distant Honitsu and Mon, but I think the big hand's on the left. We'll get to that in a bit. On the right, we have Pinfu shapes, maybe an Itsu. Across the way, we have Pinfu shapes, maybe an Ipeco, maybe a Tanyao. Nice little Tuso draw there to complete the Onko.
Oh!
But the big hand is the one on the left. As you can see, we're going to have 2 complete Onko of wins, including Yakuhai Pei, a pair Elsar. So the question is, can you turn this into Toy Toy, maybe even Suonko? Okay, doesn't pawn the 8-pin. I think I would have gone for it.
I think,
especially because the value here is going to be on the Hatsu anyway. So if you get good shape, just go for it.
Right.
Boom.
I was wondering if
Beat
with many more. Oh wow.
We have
Uh,
Tempai on the right, waiting on the 2-5 so for just Ricci Pinfu. Ooh, and
keeping
Gina
the
pulls in
5
a
and the
nice little.
4 and the disc. I
Well,
guess.
now pulling it. Okay, it's just folding now. I think you're supposed to push at least a little bit there. Oh, and see, you could be cheating the sevens so and be looking at a really nice hand. And there's the Dora being safe. So expect those to start pouring out. Okay, Gina keeps it. Ooh, we see
Wow.
a draw of another 5 so. There were 5 outs in the wall when the 3-2 was declared, but we see 4 now in the hand across. Claire now Ishan 10 for what would be Tanyao. Not even guaranteed Tanyao. Needs a 6-mon. Ooh, or could do some switching here. Problem is if you end up with this and then, well, with the 3 and the 6-6 discarded, you're feeling a lot of regrets about the potential shapes in this hand because you
Yep.
could have already had the 4-5-6 Peiko now. But with the 2 so basically being locked up, I think Claire is mostly going to defend here.
That 8 so draw, it's pretty scary.
Each.
Ooh, Tempai on the left for Ricci Pay, possible Sanonko. How many outs are left? There is 1 5-mon and 1 8-pin. So 2 outs, which when you're in that situation with those types of shapes is about as good as you can hope for.
I wonder how much
Oh, there's
longer.
one of them.
Wow.
Oh no, and that 5 is going to make the 8 look very safe. I'd not be surprised to see a call and then the 8-pin discard, but decide to pass, staying disciplined. There actually is now a Kabe of 5 pins, so the 6 and 7 are look pretty safe.
Oh, I
You just
just
it feel.
dodging it.
Oh, and
No!
there comes the 5 so Ricci Sumo Pinfu and the Oradora, and again, those are the nice big sumo and is over 40K.
There would have been an Ura on Andre's hand as well, even.
Well, we moved to East 3. Dealer has probably just a Ricci shape. You'd love to connect to something with that 3-pin, pulling a Dora. On the right, we have pretty standard Pinfu shapes, Tanyao. I think you may even just go Tanyao only with that. A bunch of pairs, possibly even Chitoi. Across the way, well, now there are 3 Dora. So the question is, how do you get to Tempai? And 4-5-6 Sanchiku looks okay. There are Itsu possibilities. So I think you're just trying to go with that hand. Anytime you have 3 door, you just want speed. On the left, we now have, I believe, Ishanten. Yes, that is Ishanten. A really awkward one. Let's see, is it? No. No, it's not
Yeah,
Ishanten. That's a
I was looking at it like,
4-6-6-7.
huh.
Okay, now it's Ishanten.
I want to pick your brain about choosing to discard the 3-pin over 7, so there.
Well, so you're figuring you're looking for extra value. The 2 most likely ways to get it are the 1 Pandora or a 2, 3, or 4 Sanchoku from this point of view. It's one of those tiles if you have sitting around, it's going to get more and more dangerous, especially when you look at what everyone else has discarded to this table.
Uh-huh. Completing the Anko of the South.
Ooh, Anko on the right. Now actually Suanko Ishant. Yeah, Suanko
Yeah.
Ishanta needs the 3, 6, and 5, but we see the 3s are locked up and the 6s are locked up. So that will never finish if that is the final weight.
Whew. That makes me sad. And in all likelihood, you don't even
Reach.
get to that
Dealer's
tenpai.
Tempai just takes the reach. This will be Ricci only. Waiting on the 2-5. Of course, we see a bunch of fives, all of them, and 3 2-pins. So just 1 2-pin left in the wall.
Whew.
Oh, but this is the type of time when that 5 could flow out if you aren't careful. Okay,
And
does
careful we will be.
properly throw the 6. It is Nakazuji, so should be safe. And of course, with all those 5, the 7 is also locked off from virtually any shape, as with all the 9 pins visible, other than the Shampon or Tonki.
I think we'll see the 7 pin come out here.
Yep, it looks
Opening up
reasonably
other
safe.
options.
Yes. And when you're in a situation like that, you can't bring yourself to fold a lot of the time.
I mean, this at the end of the day, oh, what a heartbreaking draw. At the end of the day, this is a Tanyo hand, so
Yes. The question is, could you also get Toy? I think that's what's going to happen.
that's
You
a
call
pawn.
it, throw the 2. Yeah.
Home.
Yeah.
And as mentioned earlier, the 3s and 6s are locked up at this point.
Kang.
Ooh, we see a
Close
con across the way on the
con.
5, so doesn't
Um,
actually bring the hand any extra value or shape. Ooh, throws the Dora. It is Suji, but that's always a scary tile to discard.
especially after a call or two have been made.
That's Tempai on the left. Now you have to throw it. The question is, do you Ricci? And I don't see any advantage to Dama here. It's not like Dealer's going to be able to
Ricci.
fold. It does. I think we see
Whoa,
another
Con.
con.
Yes.
Waiting on
Oh.
the 2-5 mon. Of course, we see 3-5 mon called. So there is 1 2 mon and 1 5 mon left in the wall.
I'm getting all excited over this hand that's most likely not going to end with someone winning. I just like to see the potential for it with all the con calls.
Yeah, Claire gets out of there, but there's the
Sumo.
2 mon and a sumo there. Ricci
Hey,
Sumo, Pinfui, Peiko, and 3
Aura?
aura chances and comes
None.
up completely empty.
Oh man.
Oh, that's so disappointing when you've been in that situation. That happened to me live this last weekend, and I'm still salty about it. But we move on to East 4, and Dealer has a pretty nice hand here. Potentially Itsu in Mon, maybe even a Honitsu. Of course, we have a 5-7-9 shape where 6 for the So is Dora. On the right, we have possible Itsu shape in Pin, a pair of the Haku and a 5-6 So shape where 6-0 is Dora. Across the way, beautiful hand, maybe even a 4-5-6 Sanshoku, probably just the Pinfu Dora. And on the left, we have a Tanya type shape and a couple floaters, pretty close to Itsu in Pin as well.
I will be paying a lot of attention to Gina's hand across. That there's now multiple Dora in that hand, and it's not far from Tenpai.
Well, you're looking for an excuse to call with a hand like that. If you end up in normal Ricci, it's like, okay. Ooh, nice pull in with a 2-pin on the right. And Hanamandre is getting closer to Tempai, but still mainly looking for the Haku. Ooh, the 1-pin draw on the left. Now you're really thinking Itsu with that hand.
I'm
6, yeah. Now the 9
Wow.
comes out. Oh, throws the 3, which is more dangerous later in the hand. Of course, we know that 9 is what's really wanted on the left for the Itsu. I don't know that you'd call it and cheapen the hand this much. But speaking of improvements, on the right, the Haku Anko is now drawn, and that is an Ishan 10, I believe. Let's see. Yes, it is. And Dealer is also putting together something, but I'm not sure I get any value from it. Really just looking to pull in the last Dora. And is that
Oh.
Tempai on the
Ricci.
left?
It is.
It is, but I don't think it's Itsu. No, it's not. Waiting on the
No,
6-9. It's just Ricci Pinfu. And how many do we have out? I see 5, so there should be 3 left in the wall. 2 9-pin and 1 6-pin.
Speaking of Itsu, Claire is just looking for a 1 in 6
I
mon.
think this deal's in. I don't see any way around it.
Yeah.
4
Dama dealing doesn't make any difference.
Oh,
Ricci
so sad.
Pinfu
To get that third Dora
and
in
the
your hand.
Aura. Yeah, just when you get to Tempai for Pinfu Dora 3, you have to throw it. I don't think there's any way around that. You're just going to always push that. When we move on to South Round, Dealer has Tanya hand and a Dora. You'd love to pull in a 5, 6, 7 Sanchoku as well. On the right, we have Pinfu type shapes, maybe Tanya. We'd also love to pull in that 6-pin Dora. Across the way, we have potential 6, 7, 8 Sanchoku, potential Honitsu, although looking much less likely now, but you do have a Hatsu pair, so it could just be a call and go, especially with a big lead in first. On the left, we have possible 2, 3, 4 Sanshoku, maybe a San Anko hand, and you have a floating 7-pin, but I think your answers are probably going to be Toy Toy or Chitoitsu at this point. And there's Tempai
Already
across the way,
Senpai.
waiting on the 9-pin Formon. And there aren't any of those out. So you're talking all 4 on the wall right now. Ooh, second Dora draw by Gina.
Let's see the 3-pin come out.
Luz has the option to switch the weight, but decides not to. And I think that's correct here. If you're going to improve the weight, it's going to be by cutting the Formon if you draw a 3 or a 5.
That Dora gets connected in Andre's hand.
Oh, there's the Formon, but it's going to be used in that
That-
hand.
yeah,
I think the
that's-
9 so.
Very usable.
You could also cut the 4 so, or even go for the Chitoy. I don't like the 2-pin. It is safe, but I think you just get a little greedier with that hand. Oh, and there's the backfire. That hurts.
Wow.
See the Dora discard come out from the right, and we've now accounted for all of them. But the important thing is Tempai waiting on the 7 so for Tanya Dora. And Dealer has an extra, but maybe going Toy Toy. Ooh, we do have Tempai now on the left for Ricci only, potentially Dora, but we see all the Dora, and there are 2 3-pin left. So I think we would have ended up the similar places, but the last 9 so draw definitely fits. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. There's the Tanya deal in for the 2000. And the Ricci stick, and it pushes Gina back over 30K as we move to South 2. Dealer has Pinfu hand, maybe very distant 5, 6, 7 Sanshoku, but I think you just have a long way to go with this. The hand on the right is either going to be amazing or terrible, and I can't tell which yet because you have Yakuai pairs of South Double Wind, Chun, a distant Kokushi attempt,
Yeah.
a distant 7, 8, 9 Sanshoku, Chanta, Honitsu. You really need to pair some of that stuff up, and until you do, the hand's going to be so tempting of being good, and yet it's terrible. Across the way, we have similarly a hand that could use a few more tiles. Oh, that 7-1 helps so much now. Now you're actually looking at something you might be able to complete. It's still not great. The best hand is the one on the left. It is Rian Shanten for potentially Ricci, Pinfu, Ipeko. And Dealer's hand is also starting to come together. I don't like the 9-pin cut there. I think I'd cut the 2 so instead. Because you're breaking up the 5, 7, 9, and you haven't added anything with the 2. Now going for the presumed Tanya shift, I guess. And if that's the case, you're going to likely cutting the 1, 1, 2 anyway. Nice little draw on the left here as Hanamandre is now Ishan 10. Won't get any value. May get Pinfu on 4-mon or 6-mon draw. But other than that, you're looking at... Ooh, interesting. I definitely cut the 7-mon here. See if I can do some shifting for the Sanjuku, and does. You can even call at
Oh,
this point.
wow.
Ooh, that hand on the right's finally starting to come together, and it's a Mongon if you can put it together. But 7-9, 7-9, and without a pair yet.
I'm not sure who this is in the chat. They only have a 10-digit number as their name, but
Each.
Dre versus Kanye is happening right now. I've been wanting to talk about how much I appreciate the names of the people in this game. The Kanye West for Claire's name, and Andre is, of course, Hanem Andre. They're both very good.
Yes, Nomi has definitely spent some time researching names and grabbing some pretty good ones. Interesting cut of the 5-mon there on the left. Seems to just be folding at this point.
Mhm.
We do see the double south call on the right and a Dora discard to expand the weight. Normally you just cut the 4-pin there.
Still searching for that last tune. Oh, this is a nice draw.
I think you cut the 7, so I mean, you may end up 4-10, but what are your other options? Well, that'll be a Chi for Tempai. Now, you didn't even think about this. This is an easy call.
Yeah, the 4-pin is safe.
Especially.
But... Oh,
okay, I don't understand this at all. You're a little worried about the Ricci, I guess, but the 4 doesn't look that dangerous to me. I'd push. He's just sitting in first and not really worried about it. And regardless, we have the Tempai across the way. As mentioned earlier, with the Ricci waiting on 3-pin, there are 0 left in the wall. But Lewis is just staying out of danger at this point. I'd have gone for it given the good weight, but I can certainly understand it sitting in first place here.
7 so? No, just completely going for safety.
That? No, it's not Tempai, yeah. You just throw the 5. There's no point in praying for anything else because you can't call it.
And this will end the hand.
And
Claire,
Claire
the only
does
one
pull
with
in the 3,000 from the Tempai payments, but still under 30,000. And we move to South 3. Thera has a Chun pair, a Dora, very nice shapes altogether. On the right, we have a Haku pair, maybe a Chanta. You'd love to pull in the 7-pin Dora to finish that Penchant. Across the way, we have Pinfu, maybe Peiko shapes. You'd have an awkward 1, 2, 4, 4, 5-pin, though. If you don't pull the 3 in, that's going to be very hard to finish. And a really nice hand on the left. I believe that is Ishanten. Yes, that is Ishanten. Question is, do you go for the 1, 2, 3? Do you go for the Itsu? Do you go for the Peiko? Instead, decides to keep the 6-pin in case there's a Dora draw. Hand on the right is now starting to look a bit like Toy Toy. Great draw with that 7-mon. Now you can actually go for a lot of options, but you're still stuck needing that 3-pin. I think you're kind of in that position where everyone's hands are just really close, but not quite there.
Yeah, everyone is waiting on miraculous draw.
And here's one of them. That gets called immediately.
Of course. With the 1 Dora in your hand, potential for a second one to be added.
Great draw with that 6, so you're looking at potential Itsu now. Cuts the 6. It doesn't actually fit into the dealer's hand, though, so it can't be G'd.
Wow.
Ooh, Haku. Maybe kept as a safe tile, but his throne immediately has to be called. Claire decides to take it. He is now Ryan Shanten with potential upgrades with Dora or even Toy Toy. But you'll pawn that, take your Tempai. And if something else comes out, like the 1 so, you'd love to upgrade that to the 4-5 weight, where 5 is Toy Toy.
Boom.
But
Home.
we now have
There's the
Tempai for
one.
dealer, and there's that one. And as said, sitting in that 5. There are 2 left in the wall. Also, we'll win with a 4, but it's the cheap end.
つも
But there's
Oh.
a dealer sumo on the 4 pin for Chundora. And gets the Riichi stick over from last round and extends over 45,000. Move to the south 3-2. Dealer has maybe a 1-2-3 Sanjuku, but you have a bunch of odd tiles, odd shapes to fill in. The 1-3-5, 1-2, and 1-7 pin. So feels a little slow, especially when compared to the hand on the right with the Hatsu pair, Sha
Gee.
pair, completed shape in So, and even a potential 5-6-7 Sanshoku. Across the way, we have a Haku pair, potentially a 4-5-6 or 6-7-8
Gee.
Sanshoku, but I think it's just a call and go, and certainly used to be approaching it that way. On the left, we have a Junchan type hand. We'd like to pull in Sanshoku, but it seems a little unlikely, especially given the speed of the rest of the table. And by rest of the table, I mean basically just Hanem Andre. As Tempai now waiting on 3-6 Mon. You obviously got the 1 So or the 9 pin. I'm not sure which one's better there. And we're Ishan 10 on the right as well. Love to call that Hatsu. I think you just call this and throw the 5.
Ooh,
When people
not
are already
too-
open like this, I don't like keeping bad shapes. But the concern here is throwing the Dora. The problem is once you've made that decision, you might as well just cut the 9. I guess the idea is if you draw the 8 yourself, you
Don't.
take it. But there's the 6 Mon, deals in across the way for the 2,000 with the 600 Homba. And we move to all last. And Claire needs a big hand, especially where she's sitting in the standings, and gets some potential for one. But then you look at the hand to the right, and you all of a sudden say, you know, Claire's hand doesn't look that good compared to a potential Honitsu, Dora 2, maybe even Toy Toy, Ipeiko, all sorts of options. Across the way, we have potential Itsu and So, not much else. And on the left, we have Pinfu, Tanyao, maybe Dora, maybe Ipeiko. So the good hands are the ones on the left and right. Dealers is decent, but they're going to see that East call, and everyone's going to go, what the heck is going on here?
Right. Whenever I'm on Majsel and I see an off-wind call, I'm always
I
sending
think you
the
con.
confused emote.
When you're in last, you might as well.
Definitely con.
I don't
maybe
agree with
eventually.
keeping the safe tile. Because that's the only reason you do it, is to keep a safe tile. But you need draws at this point.
Oh,
Like that 5
that
is a
might
pretty nice draw.
count.
Now you con.
Con.
Yes.
There we go.
And it's a west, adding value to
The north,
pretty
not in the
much
hand.
absolutely nothing.
Well, there were 3 discarded, so it's effectively dead.
There's
the only thing it
4.
could win with is 4, 1, 2, 3. Oh, yeah, there's 4. I am blind as always. Well, it doesn't make any difference. If it's 3 and we see all
Yeah,
the
3 or
East, it
4.
can deal into literally nothing.
A sad, sad con.
We have Ishan 10 on the left. Still looking for Riichi pin. I don't even think you'd Riichi in that position if you drew the 1-4. So, ooh, 2. You have to call this. It's Dora.
Yes,
Own it.
Yes.
And all of a
Chi
sudden,
call.
oh yeah, okay, Chi, absolutely, yeah, that's Tempai. I didn't read the hand correctly. Tempai waiting on the 8 Mon.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming either, and this is a potential
And
improvement
now it
to that weight
upgrades
as
to the
well.
5-8, and everyone knows
Gee.
immediately what that hand shape is. And you're seeing a lot of, maybe I should get my 1,000 and out of here.
There's quite a bit of that weight still left in the wall. We only see a single 5 and 8 in other folks' hands.
Sumo.
And there's
And
the Sumo,
there's the
huge
Sumo.
hand. The 8,000, which isn't quite enough to get over 30K, but does take second.
Oh, no points on the table. Yeah, because they would appear.
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate you get that monster hand, and it's still only the Mongon, but it limits the damage and basically swaps positions with Claire. You'd much rather be at minus zero point 0.2. But the big winner, of course, is Lush with 30.5. Gina taking a minor 7.5 hit, and Claire taking last here with Sumo by fourth place in all last to come back. And Claire had been advancing back out of the real abyss, was making a real push towards getting out, but that's not going to help. It's going to set her back to around minus 130, but you still have plenty of games to play.
Of course, Luce will be jumping up to second in the standings, or sorry, third in the standings. And I don't remember where the other folks were at.
Well, I think the
Well, Andre
important
did
thing
not
on
move.
this sheet that just jumps out at me is Lucia's deal in rate of 5.5%. The second lowest in the entire division is 10.4.
I don't know the life. Mine looks a lot more like Amy's.
Well, I played a couple different styles. If you look at my stats, last season I was sitting around 17% for most of it
Mhm.
because, especially in the beta leagues, you generally want to play a wider variant style, try and get those huge firsts. But now in A1, I think I've cut my rate down to like 10.1. So for me, anyway, that's incredibly defensive, but it's nothing compared to 5.5.
5.5. You see the high average of deal-ins at over 6,100, but at only 5.5%, that is wild to
Yeah,
see.
so that's pretty crazy. Absolutely dominating the EV category, which is wins times average minus deal in times average.
Whew.
Yeah, when these stats update. I don't think this sheet necessarily would get updated immediately, but when you get back to the game, the scores should be.
We see the 15 out of 24, Andre, Luce, Claire, and Gina. I believe they are updated.
Oh, okay.
Our stats on the left are updated.
Yeah, it's really weird. Oh well, whatever. But yes, so Lush sitting in third place, starting to pull a bit away. Gina taking a pretty big hit and sitting just outside of demotion. But the big loser, of course, is Claire. And sitting at minus 130, had been making a push. And that 8/4, when you're at 15 games and have ended last in more than half, you tend to be towards the bottom.
Hmm. Yeah, you see Claire's deal-in average of over 6,800, the highest in this division. It's you figure there's some bad luck in there too.
Oh, for sure. Has been losing all sorts of reaches. But regardless, I believe it'll be another couple minutes yet before the game actually starts because they took a pretty big break after the first game,
They did start playing 2 minutes ago.
which means we will be live in about 3 more when the game starts.
I'm going to take advantage of this quick break. I will be right back.
We see Andre and Lou sitting at 2 and 3, but that may be a little bit misleading because, of course, we see Nathaniel and Minko haven't played their games this session. So they each have 3 games in hand over all these players, but it's still session 4. There's plenty of time. That's something we keep saying. You're going to really start worrying next session. And just like that, we have the final game of this set starting. And Dealer has a very nice hand. Ipeco, maybe 5, 6, 7 Sanshoku. Of course, you can pull in an 8 So Dora and connect to the floating 7. I think, ooh, by throwing the 2 So and then the 1, of course, comes back. So there goes the Sanshoku. Anyway, on the right, we have Pinfu, Tanyao. You love pulling a Dora. Across the way, we have Chanta type shape, maybe a 5, 6, 7 Sanshoku. Honestly, not great. And on the left, we have an East pair, a nice little shape in Mon, and potential Itsu in Pen. But if we go back to Dealer, drawing all the Mon tiles, I think you just go Chinitsu at this point.
I'm blown away. What if I got draws like that?
I with 2 tune out, you figure that will come out of this hand shortly.
Well, at this point, yes,
Oh!
it's absolutely selling out. Now, it would be
Yeet.
interesting if you draw the 3 Mon, you take the Ipeco, but the first Tempai is the player on the right on 147 Mon. For Ricci, Pinfu, let me see, is that Pinfu? Yes, that would be Pinfu, and possible Tanya. Would not be Pinfu on the 7 Mon.
Wow, this hand
Ooh.
is nuts.
This
we
is
see
a
the
how
greed?
brave are you?
No.
Oh,
No greed.
no soul.
No Mahjong Soul. I can't stop myself. Man, I wanted to see a big fat Chinitsu hand. But
Well, and by cutting the 8 Mon, you basically force yourself into Pinfu shape where if you just push the 5, 6, especially now with 3, 4 pin out, it wouldn't have been that bad. Of course, we have the advantage of being able to see the tiles. Well, you might see a Khan across the way now. Instead, just throwing the relatively safe Suji 7 pin.
spooky 3 pin, but
It's one chance. I don't think it's that bad here. Problem here is this 5, 6 is becoming more and more useless as the 4, 5, the 4, 7 pin keep getting discarded. And of course, you see 2 locked in the hand to the right. So if that is the final weight, we would be talking 1, 7 pin in the entire wall. There's the Khan. And draws the 5 pin and says, nope.
oh, nah, come on.
Oh.
Come on.
Oh.
I do not want to cheer against Claire, but I do always want to cheer for a giant, huge hand. And look at this.
I believe, yes, that is Tempai, I think.
It is.
Yeah, waiting on that 4, 7 mentioned earlier.
But
and will be worth the
just
1,500. And bit unfortunate there for Claire. Had a great weight early, great shape, and just can't draw the last tile. And Dealer's rewarded with a nice pair of East and Adora. So that's 3 Han right there. Of course, other than that, the interesting thing is every single tile in his hand is an odd number. The 379, 1357, 13579.
Uncanny, including the draw so far.
Yuck.
Look, an even number.
Even number. I'm pretty sure they don't exist. But regardless, we move to the hand on the right. Tanyao, maybe a Pinfu, maybe a Distant Itsu. I don't think there's much there. Hand across, maybe a 2, 3, or 4 Sanshoku. Probably not Tanya because of the 9 pin pair, but you're okay with that. The hand on the left looks really good. Potentially Peiko with the 4 or 7 So draw. But I think all the attention. Oh no, I don't like the 1-pin discard either. Because I'd also like the option to go for the 1-2-3 Sanchoku. When you have these terrible, terrible shapes,
Hmm. Yeah,
you're looking for anything.
I was looking for a
Gee.
space to comment that with the 1-pin discard, you lose that chance at Sanchoku unless you do draw another 1-pin. It comes in and is not taken advantage of. Maybe seeing the multiple 1-mon in the discard pile, discouraging from going for that angle, but
Well, the other problem here is what's your pair going to be? I mean, obviously, you'd love to pull Dora in and then maybe get the 3-7 pin, but it's going to be hard to use anything, honestly.
mhm.
Well, now you lose some options, and it's saying, okay, well, if we draw the 2, we'll
Gee.
just take the Dora Tonki for Mongon, and I don't have any problems with that play. On the right, we see a call for Tanyao. Still quite a bit off, though. Ooh, there's the draw, and waiting on Tuso
Wow.
for Mongon now. And that's a
That's
hard tile to dodge. It may even come out here. But I
fairly
think
likely to come out.
that 2 doesn't really fit in. Very glad Hanemandre has a possible 2-3-4 Sanchoku. I'd have just thrown Haku and then kept a nice leash on 10, even being able to call if necessary.
Oh, this pair.
Oh no. Oh no.
It's getting closer to coming out.
Oh no, I think it comes out here.
The only thing that saves
It does. There's the Mongon.
the only thing that would have saved saved Andre from dealing in was drawing a 3, so basically.
Yeah, it was really rough, but nice win there for Lush and continues a nice streak. Now around 45,000 and doesn't get the greatest hint here, but maybe a 6-7, a 7-9 Sanchoku, maybe a 6-7-8, maybe an Ipeco. So plenty of options here. The hand on the right is a bunch of pairs, maybe an Itsu in So, also a Dora. Across the way, we have Tanyao and a Dora as well. You maybe just open and go for it at this point. The hand on the left is Pinfu, Tanyao, maybe a Dora, maybe an Ipeco. Now, oh, great draw with a 3-pin. Now decides not to go for the 7-9 Sanchoku, but had basically given up on that. Looking for the Ipeco now, and hoping for as much acceptance as possible. Changes the 6-6-8-9 from 2 shapes to 1. And then this also allows you to expand the 3-3 pin into a 1-3-3, so the 2 pin could help. I think the hand that's closest is the one on the the one across from us. I was going to say the one on the left, but okay, just draw your last dial then.
And that is waiting on that. So
well, okay, do it twice in a row. Ricci, Potsu, Sumo, Pin, Fedora.
Wow.
And the aura and Hanemandre lives up to the name, getting back all the points that were thrown out last hand. Wow. And
that is
the other 2 at this table are going, really? But we move to East 2. Clara's dealer has not a great hand. Bunch of 4 floaters and a pair of North. Honestly, you're hoping for Yakuai to pair up or maybe a very distant shift to Tanyao, but doesn't look like much. And on the right, nice little shape in So, maybe an Itsu. Completed shape in Mon. Across the way, we have possible 2-3-4 Sanchoku, possible shift for 3-4-5, maybe Itsu in So. On the left, we have an East pair. It's the Yakuai with 2 Dora. So I know which hand I want the most.
Sanchoku Joko for Claire.
Well, if we can get a few more, I'll start believing. But 4 are just so hard to get, especially with one as the Dora indicator. Oh my goodness, there's an Onko of the 5-pin Dora on the left.
Yikes.
And that East is going to come out in a couple turns. Yes, a couple turns from Hanemandre on the right. Uh-oh.
That'll be, once that's called, Just one
Wait,
away
there's
from Tenpai?
Tempai. Yeah, someone's Tempai across the way for no Yaku, waiting on the Formon right now. Oh, I think you got the 8-9. You're even thinking there's an outside chance of getting a Honitsu here.
That's nuts. On
There's
top of all the
is.
Dora. Yeah,
Throw
yeah,
out
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah, yeah,
9.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, no, I don't like the 6 discard there.
Why 6?
No Dreaves. Well, the problem would be if you draw the 7, you'd have a 5-5-5-6-6-8-8 shape, which waits on 5 and 8, 5 of which are in your hand.
Oh,
Which
I
is depressing, but that's the thinking anyway. Of course, if you pair it
okay.
up, you have the ability to upgrade it to Hanemon or better.
Yeah, you'll see the one. So
Again, now
keep
that you have
that
an
for now.
actual safe tile, this is when I'd be cutting the 6 pin. Ooh, Khan, you don't need it.
Yeet.
Just gonna hold on to it for now.
Here
We
we
have
go.
Tempai for dealer, for Ricci, Dora, and that's going to be it.
That's
You have a
about
bunch of
it.
Fu though. Yeah, Ricci, Dora, the 3 or the 6 isn't going to be any difference. Doesn't believe in the Suanko. Ooh, doesn't
Oh
call the 8,
yes,
but instead draws into Tempai, waiting on 1
yes.
4-pin.
Oh, so there's a couple hands ready to go.
And across the way, Genie just stays Dama without a Yaku. Willing to push some of these tiles, but of course you're very worried if another 1 pin is drawn and that 4 might come out.
Gina's weight right now is tragic, and I think she's well
Because
aware of
dealer's
that
sitting on
fact.
all of them, except for the one that's in the hand of the right. That is Tempai
Yeet.
on the right as well, waiting on the 2-5. And there's the uh-oh. Uh-oh. That 1 might come
I
right
think
back
we'll
out.
see.
I hope it's a fold. It's not.
Yikes.
Deals into the Mon gun.
Okay.
And Luce just completely continues to dominate the table. Now near 50,000 as we move to East 3. Here has a potential Itsu in Mon. Great shapes otherwise. On the right, we have Pinfu type shapes, maybe a distant Itsu. Also a Dora Formon floater. Across the way, we have a Hatsu pair. Maybe an Itsu and Pin, but I think you're just going to call the Hatsu and go. On the left, we have a whole bunch of disconnected floaters, but that 4
Mhm.
connected to the 5 helps immensely.
Andre is pretty close to Tenpai.
Gina's
Just
getting close too.
I think he'll keep that 4 and drop the.
8 Mon. Drops a 3.
That's what
Doesn't
I
believe in the
expected.
Sanshoku.
Home.
You see the Hatsu
Home.
call across the way. There is a possible Honitsu now, but it's quite a bit off.
I guess we're just going open Tanyao for Claire's hand.
Oh, now we see Ishanten across the way, and I don't think there's any reason for Lush to push for the extra value here. If you get Tempai, you just call it, and that tune's going to come out pretty soon from Claire.
Probably right now. That'll be a
Home.
call and
And there,
discard.
oh,
Not Chun.
doesn't throw the tune here. It's not quite Ishanten across the way. It's not quite Ishanten for Claire either. So these are a bunch of middling hands.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you have. Oh, I definitely pwned that 7 pin. I don't like that discard. Now using it to try and disguise the weight a bit, but I think there were a lot better options there. Playing mostly defensively, maybe a little scared of the open hand here, assuming there's a bunch of Dora. But as we see, that's the first Dora that comes in. It's just now drawn into floater.
With the open Tanyao shape, though, you'd figure on keeping that. Ooh.
Well, you're sitting there with 4 Mon. It's so easy to connect. The only problem is the called 6 Mon.
Right. And that was already causing problems with the 2 8s and then the 7 draw.
Oh, that 3 looks. That looks
That's
pretty
a
scary.
spooky tile, and
Does
we're
throw it though.
going.
Could call the 8-pin, but it'd be tempo with a Yaku. I think it's definitely too early for that.
I think with
Ooh,
the
Dora pair up on the left now for Claire.
yes.
Ishanten, big draw. Now that
Not
8-mon, which could pull
calling
her
the
out.
tune?
I think yeah, because you haven't improved your shapes at all. I
That's-
agree with passing it there. It's a bit
Yeah,
disappointing,
yeah.
but it's the right play.
Yeah, you need to get the pair. I wasn't thinking about that.
Well, it's because there was a
Gee.
pair of 7-pin earlier, but it was discarded.
Right.
Meanwhile, we have K10 on the right now.
Oh. Whoa. Andre just opting to completely
Oh, there's a
Oh.
backfire on Claire. And it obviously wouldn't be for a Yaku, but you'd be thrilled to have that Tempai at this point.
It's a lot of ways this can still reach tempo.
Oh, and doesn't decide to
Gee.
throw the 7-mon. I thought it looked pretty safe. Instead throws the Chun and the... Ooh, okay. And the 1-pin would have dealt in from Claire, but because of the step back by Lush, doesn't. So we're going to have most likely 2 players K10. The question is, can Claire also get to Tempai? Oh, no, decides to
Whoa!
switch the donkey. Oh, my goodness. Now, you
Gotta
obviously throw the
discard that
7
7.
here.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And you're going to
Gee.
see a Chi. Question is, you throw the 4. Which 4 do you throw? Or do you, oh, I don't like that Chi. No, I'm Chiing the 6-8. I think it's a big mistake. Instead, just doing it to break the chance for Claire to have last draw. The
Man.
9's perfectly safe here. This should not be hard discard. Just when you're looking at the pool, just making sure you're counting it correctly. But the 9 sells 100% safe.
It's in
Unless
everyone's
we got a
discard
freeze.
pile. I think we might be frozen.
Yeah, I
It's the
think
last
that's a
discard of the
freeze.
game. Yeah.
That definitely. Anyway,
Oh, good
I
timing
think
for
that
it to
was.
happen. Better than literally any other time.
Yeah.
There we go.
2 players Tempai, of course, the 5-mon Tonki, and the Ryaman on the right. Oh, and a full disconnect by Andre.
Oh.
That explained why we didn't see many updates, but I think he's already back. As the saying goes, we'll see. I'll wait to comment on the hands until we know for sure. Or I guess if we need some time filler, I'll go now. Dealer has a few decent shapes, but a whole bunch of Yaku High. There are 5 of them that are alone. Can be paired up on the right. We have possible Tanya, possible Pinfu. Across the way, we have pairs of South, White, and 3-pin. So I think you're just calling some Yaku and seeing and finish the handoff. And on the left, we have Pinfu, maybe Distant Yitsu, and So, and Tudora. Yeah, I think we lost signal again. There's the refresh.
Nate saying oh no, we're back in business.
Sorry for the technical difficulties. But here we are with Dealer. You call that. You'd love to get the toy, but you're not believing in it. You'd like to just be able to pull in Hatsudora here.
Across, we see a Call of the South before the Call of the Haku, just hoping that the Haku would come out. Did pay off.
Yeah, Ishanten now. Of course, you'd love to connect to that 6-pin and pull a Dora in. But a bunch of them are locked up in other hands right now.
3 out of 4. That's a nice draw.
Oh, I think you just pwn it. I don't like any of the rest of the shapes, so I'd like to threaten Toy if nothing else. Yeah, now it takes what will be Ryaman Ishan. Looking for the 3-6 and the 4-7. And there's
That
Tempai for
deals into
Claire as
2
well.
hands.
Oh, that 6 may come out. Okay, throws the Shaw for now.
Potentially.
Because it's obviously a cheat toy hand on the left. The question is which shape. Uh-oh. One of these two has to come out.
Mhm.
Okay, throws the 9. Again, dodging this correctly.
Staving it off.
This is a good play. The hand just isn't coming together. And if it doesn't, don't force it.
That 5 discards really suggests that 6 might come out.
Con.
A con.
There's another con. Adds 1 so as Dora, which isn't being used by anyone.
I don't. I only see one so.
That's all I see as well. We see all the 2 so now.
Switch into a Tonki Wait as Gina.
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
3 so. I definitely switched the weight. That's a
Yeah,
great switch with the
yes,
Dora.
yes.
Not only, and it's going to deal it
No.
right
Well,
here.
There you go. Pays off immediately.
Yeah, not the expensive end, but you'll absolutely take it. 2,900
course.
plus the Homba, and Claire drops into third, and Gina is now very close to third, and not that far off from second. Is rewarded with a pretty nice Pinfu, maybe 6, 7, 8, or rather 7, 8, 9 Sanshuku hand, maybe a distant Yitsu, but honestly, just pretty good hand. On the right, we have Pinfu shapes, maybe a 6, 7, 8 Sanshoku, but probably Tanyao. You do have a Yaku, the Yakuhai non, but it's going to be very hard to use, of course, unless it gets paired up and everyone can use it. Oh, wait, no, we're not. We're still in East 4, so it's only Lush here. So maybe you do hold on to a little bit more then. Across
Oh,
the
yeah.
way, we have Tanyao type shapes, maybe a distant 6, 7, 8 Sanshoku. On the left, we have really nice shapes as well, maybe 2, 3, 4 Sanshoku. I think you cut the 8, 9, and yes, does.
Yeah, that's south. You hold that to you hold on to that for dear life. Like that is Yakuhai and 3 Dora Mongon from a single call potentially.
Yeah, you'd love it. The problem is that the rest of the hand's developing into really good shapes for Tanya.
Lychee.
You could have even called that 8th Mon, but instead Dealer is now Tempai. Forichi only waiting on 6, 9 pin. All the 6s are out and 2 of the 9s are out, so there are 2 9 pin left. Oh, that is also Sanshuku on the 9. I did miss that.
Oh yeah. Lots of 4s.
Sumo.
There's
Oh
the Sumo.
man.
Huge Sumo. Richi, Sumo Sanshoku. Hits the expensive end and is back within striking range of Lush.
You only needed a few Han to get into second place, but getting that and more certainly not a problem.
Well, you'll take it, especially because there are still a lot of hands to play. Dealer has
Look at
Pinfu
this.
shapes. Not too much, though. Maybe an Ipeco now with a 3-pin draw. On the right, we have Pinfu shapes, maybe distant Itsu in Mon. Across the way, we have
Whoa.
Yuck. And on the left, we have by far the prettiest hand.
Yeah.
It is actually already
In
Tempai,
Tenpai.
just for nothing.
And Dama, obviously hoping to improve the weight or even draw
Looking to
in
pull an
another
Itsu
North.
specifically. Ooh, or a Dora. You'd be fine with that. Cut the 2-4 for sure.
Yes, yes.
An interesting
Wow.
question. If the last North comes, do you call it and wait on Doratanki?
Call?
I know is a perfectly acceptable answer.
I say no. I don't want to open this. It's so early and potential for such a good wait. You might even.
Oh, okay, there you go. Well, we'll find out later. There is 1 pay in the wall and 2 5-pin. This will be Mongon on either end. Because North is Yakuhai.
Well, let's call some attention to the dealer hand, which is Ishan.
It is, well, not anymore.
Not anymore.
decides, I don't want to fight this.
Probably heard me screaming about it.
Well, it's more that the tune. I would have just cut the tune since one's out.
Yeah,
But of
I
course, the
wouldn't be
equivalent is
worried
I'd
about
probably
June.
throw the North because one's out, and that deal into Mungun here. So takes the safe route.
相撲
Oh,
Oh
there's the
my
Sumo Ricci
god!
Sumo Dora 3. And
And
the aura
Anora.
for the Hanemon. Hanemandre
Hanemandre!
strikes again. Wow, huge swings. And Claire is just sitting there going, what did I do to deserve this?
Oh no!
I've been there so many times. But we moved to South Round, and that is a lot of pairs for Dealy. You're probably just going cheat toy, especially with the Dora draw now. Oh no, just throws the Dora right back out. I don't like that at all.
I dislike that.
You
quite a
could
bit.
always throw it later, but I think that's one where it doesn't fit in the hand. Auto throw it. Wait, what was Dora? Oops.
Yeah, definitely.
I've also
guilty
done
of
that a
over
lot
here.
too.
I'm
And the hand on the right also has a bunch of pairs, but the shapes are significantly worse. Across the way is a really nice hand, especially pulling the 3-mon. And there's another Tune Dora just thrown out. On the left, we are actually Ishan 10, but wouldn't be for any value yet. You'd love to
Whoa.
pull in something. Oh my goodness, what is that? That is an
5,
Ishan
6,
10.
6, 7, 8, 8, 9 is a very strange shape. I like this one a lot more.
Yeah, I agree with that. You're also your problem is you just keep pairing things up.
Hmm.
Of course, if you can draw an 8-so or a 5-mon, then you'd have a nice shape. But you have all these extra pairs. You'd love to cut the 6-pin later, or maybe even draw the 5 or 7 in pin and then cut one of your other pairs.
Hmm.
地
You can call for
And we're just going
10-5, but I
open
don't like
Tanya.
this. Yeah, that
I
seems
don't-
very sad. I could see poning the 5-mon or the 8-so just because they're going to be very hard to do.
I guess.
But you took the easy side.
Yeah, you are a dealer, so going for a quick win, but the weight is not great.
I just think there is a lot more value in
No.
this hand. But okay, take
Okay.
your 1,500 and move on. Figuring the hand wouldn't finish otherwise.
It's a 3,000 point swing between first and second too.
Yes,
Each.
dealer has another decent hand, but the
double
big one is the one
reach.
on the right. Double reachy potential Itsu. Oh my goodness. And of course, the 4-pin is drawn immediately across the way.
This is nuts. That's gonna come out.
Claire is going, oh, finally, where has this hand been this whole time?
Yes.
And
Happy to see
there are
good
6 still
things
on the
from
wall,
Claire.
so you are pretty likely to draw that at this point. I believe the odds are around 55 to 60%, but it's not guaranteed by any stretch.
I just want to see Andre finish drawing these or discarding these honors, so that and without that 4 getting connected, that is definitely coming out.
Well, it'd be a huge swing, a direct hit on second place for Mungun.
Yeah, that would put everyone back below 30,000.
Don't.
Yeah, there it is.
Deals into double Richie Itsu. And that is an 8,300 point swing between the two of them, putting Claire into third place by a whole 200 points. But everyone's in striking range. Luce is just sitting here saying, you guys have fun. But Claire has a decent hand here. I'd love to pull in the 7-pin. On the right, maybe a Honitsu, maybe a Yakuhai pair. You do have a Dora across the way. Decent shapes, not great ones. Maybe Tanyao. On the left, by far the best hand, with a potential Ricci, Pinfu, Tanyao, maybe even Sanshoku in there somewhere. Interesting discard, throwing the 9-so, giving up completely on the Sanshoku option. Admittedly, the hand's pretty bad, but that's the type of thing that lets you maneuver forward instead of keeping these Yakuhai, hoping something pairs up.
Some fun shapes going on in Lucius' hand.
Ooh, there's a pair up of the Chun on the right. And given the rest of that hand, it's just if you see a pair, you just start calling. Ooh, big draw with a Tuso there on the left.
But what do you
I could cut the
discard?
7-8 in Mon. Because you're really wanting to find some way to get Sanshoku out of this hand.
Oh my
Oh,
god!
now and see,
No
this is why.
way. The 2, 2,
Oh,
2, 3, 4, 5,
Boom.
6, 7 shape. I know that's an incredible shape. I don't remember exactly how many weights that is.
well,
Is it a
it's completed shapes. That's your pair and 2 runs.
but
Because the rest of your hand is 3, 4, 7, 9 or 3, 4, 7, 8.
that shape specifically, I think it contains, if you use it as a
Yeah.
weight, a
Oh yeah. Well,
potential.
yes. You have another pair elsewhere. It's going to be at least
Yeah.
4-sided weight. But your
So we're just
external
waiting
pair and then
on.
2, 5, 8. But in the meantime, we have Tempai on the left. Farichi, Pinfu,
Chi.
waiting on 6, 9, where the 6 will also be Tanyao.
6 is not directly connected to anything in Gina's hand.
Well, we see 2 6s and 3 9s. That means 3 outs left on the wall. Ooh, and there's one of them. And Claire's hand continues to move forward, but seems to be a little scared here. If you're gonna push a weaker tile, I would have cut the 9-8 earlier and is punished again. This could be a beautiful
Chi.
5, 6, 7, 8 shape. Meanwhile, we have Tempai on the right for Chun Dora 2, waiting on 6, 9 pin. And the 6 is Gembutsu, so it may come out pretty soon. Or at least the 9 Suji may. Like right here. I could easily
Right.
see it coming out.
Yep.
And it does, deals in for the 3,900 Narichi stick. Pushing Hanamandre back over 30,000. And Gina into 4th place. Has a decent hand here. Probably just a Ricci type hand. You also have a pair of 9 Mons and a pair of 2 pins, so probably not going to get the Tanyao here. On the right, we have decent shapes, maybe a distant Itsu in So, bunch of lone Yakuhai across the way. We have Pinfu type shapes. You do have a 2, 4, 6, 8, so you'd like to fill some of those up. And on the left, we have another decent hand, especially with the non-pair, which you could just call for Yakuhai and go. Shapes there honestly look the best of anyone at the table, although Dealers is starting to get a little bit better. And that 3-mon draw across the way really helps.
Boom.
There's the South, does come out, does get called by Claire.
I'm noting the lack of Dora and how badly literally everyone wants one.
Well, the 4-pin is always an easy to use tile if you have anything in pin.
But everyone has 5s and 3s. Everyone looking for it.
Now nice little Ishun 10 across the way. Love to be able to pull in an 8 or 6 Mon, pair those up and get the Ricci Pin Futanyo. Although at this point you may just Dama. Ooh, and now will be Tonki. So I mean you take the
Wow.
Tempai.
Yeah, not going to color reach with the hope of improving the value.
Well, part of the problem is what happens here on the right is I bet this will be a Ricci. Waiting on the Peiko Tuso.
Ricci.
Will just be Ricci Peiko. And Luce says, I don't want to have to fight this. You guys continue having fun. I'll just sit here away from everything.
That lead is not as big as it was, though.
No, but it's fourth place here, so the general feeling is let the others deal with it. And I
Mhm.
agree with it here. Claire's sort of pushing Dylan Mawashi, which is the way to go. Very nice little Ishan 10.
Ishan.
Now Tempai, you have to throw that 3 or the 6. Throws the 6, waiting on 2-5.
Andre also Ishan. But not going to stick with it.
Oh, that 5 looks terrible, but do you have the heart to throw it? Nope.
Nope. Yeah, I'd be terrified to discard any Sozu at all.
Oh yeah, they all look terrible. There's another 2 draw, so only 1 left on the wall at this point.
Oh,
There's
it
the
is.
last one. So we know
Oh,
this hand will not finish unless someone else throws it, and that's looking less and less likely now.
yeah.
But this isn't even a bad yeah, that is not Tempai for Claire, but she does have 2 Dora now. And given that, I think she'd push anything for Tempai.
Mhm.
Because these payments are really big here. If there's a 4,000 point swing, it knocks Hanam Andre under 30,000 and kicks Claire into 4th place.
So Dora draw for
Oh,
Andre.
Pwn!
Do it.
Easy Pwn. This should
Do
not take
it.
as long as it is.
Yes.
Because there's always the chance that
Gee.
your winning tile is discarded for right here. And deal is, I'd like to have Tempai too.
Wow.
And just like that, the complete dynamic changes because you had 2 players Tempai on the last draw.
Luce's lead has been reduced to only 6,000.
Well, you have a 4,000 point swing like that, and those will add up very quickly. Dealer has a Hatsu pair, decent shapes otherwise, and right we have an Onko of Chun, and decent shapes as well. Across the way, I have a pair of Shaw, which is Yakuhai, and decent shapes. And on the left, we have maybe a Pinfu. You really need the 3-so to come in, but if you can draw that, then it's really good as well. Just no value.
Home.
Poning the first West, poning the first Hatsu. We're just opening.
Nice draw of the 2-pin there. Massively improves the hand across.
Mm-hmm.
And dealer's plan for a
Great
pair
draw
seems to
here,
have gone
too.
up in smoke.
I still like it.
Yeah, the 7 Mon is the efficient cut because this lets you get to Tempai and you have 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9 pin.
Not keeping that.
I don't know why Gina's staying so attached to the 9-so. Of course, you'd love to have Dora, but the shapes just aren't coming together. So, oh, okay, well there's your answer, and I apparently don't know what I'm talking about. Wouldn't be the first time.
Why didn't you know exactly what was in the wall?
Ooh, that is Tempai on the left, but I don't think you take it. I think you cut the 1-2 Mon. The 1-2, so
Oh.
does say, okay, I'll defend my position, especially with the now 2,300 in the middle, was 13.
Yeah,
So I can see it.
Though, it's not
Ooh, do you
good
call
for
for
his
Tempai? We see a
hand.
Tempai. And
What?
deals the 3-so. The safer weight ends up dealing in, and that's a pretty big one. Because now you have 3
Oh
people
my
over
God.
30,000, and it's not safe.
This
That
is
lead
crazy.
is not safe at all. Wow, takes the worst weight and is punished severely. But congratulations to Claire just throwing the stick out there
Yes.
saying, make them fight into me, and that's the result. We move to South 4. Dealer has a bunch of pairs. probably just a Pinfu type hand. You'd love to draw a 7-mon and go for the Pecodora 2. On the right, we have Pinfu type shapes as well. Cross, we have a pair of Southwind and maybe a Chanta. And on the left, we have a pair of Hatsu and not much else. But the big thing here is, can you move up the positions?
Gina's hand is strange. But I think getting rid of those 9-mon makes it less
It's
so.
a shift for Tanyao. Basically, giving up on the Peiko at this point, saying if the 7
Mhm.
comes, we take the shape of 4-5 and 5-7.
Ugh.
Yeah, especially now. Yeah, you're seeing all these pairs. So I think this is another one where the decision has been made to just call and go.
Mm-hmm.
If anything comes, you just call. Like this 6, I'm calling it.
Wow.
Decides to pass on this. When you've made
Come.
this type of play, you're also giving yourself the option for a 4-5-6 Sanshoku now. But staying closed here, I'm not seeing what advantage that 1-so is. If you draw the 5, you don't particularly care that much, even if you're 4-10. But now I have Tempai on the right on the 4-7 pin. And of course, that could come out from Gina at any time.
Right. That'd be a sad end to this game.
There's the non. I think you call it. Yeah, you have to. You call it for Tempai. You'd love to take second here.
Lots of
Ooh, that
winning
throws the
tiled.
5 for now. Okay,
This-
well there's your 5.
Okay.
I think you just have to cut the 5-mon here, yeah. But even so, if you draw 3 6-mon, which weight do you take? You have to take the Riichi, but ooh, now we have Tempai on the left. It's gonna deal in.
Mm,
Just the 1,000.
stays
That's enough to switch
over
them. But it's very
30,000 though.
important because that will end up dropping Gina a bunch. A strong 24,400. You have that minus 20 Uma. Lush
Yuck.
gets 19.2 from the big 15 Uma. Claire gets 6.3. Andre gets just the 0.1, but doesn't lose anything, managing to stay over 30,000. And that's going to put Gina right on the border of the demotion zone.
Yikes.
Will
You
be, I
don't-
believe, 61.6. So a
Yeah,
whole
there it is.
1.3 away. But you see those names underneath, which are Aaron and Ryan, and I believe they are our second match.
Luce moves up to second, passing Andre, and only a handful of points from first. That 5.5 deal in percent is
Not
no
there
longer
anymore. Yeah. Well, it's very hard to maintain that.
right. And the EV is still in the lead in the EV, but not that plus 900 that it was before.
Yes, and low deal in average, high win average, but starting to come towards the pack on both of those numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And this
Well,
is our second set of games. And as mentioned, we have Ryan and Anthony along with Amy. And I believe the last one is Panda. So, that is Ryan. Oh, Aldwin. Q should be in this. Yes, that's the last one.
mhm. Well, unfortunately, I have a bedtime. I won't be able to stick around this game for long.
Right. Well, we'll work on getting a fill in for you, but look, it's been nice chatting with you and going over these games.
Of course, as always.
Dealer here has a really nice hand. You don't even want to go Kokushi necessarily with this. Maybe just Chanta, Honitsu even distantly, Toy Toy. But you just want to start calling because the shapes themselves are bad, but easily callable. On the right, we have a nice little Tanyao shape. You don't get Pinfu, but it doesn't quite look like it yet. Across the way, we have an East pair. And now an Otsutsuki call with the 1-mon. And I think this East is going to come out fairly soon. On the left, we have a call of Sha, which is not Yakuhai. So selling out completely on the Honitsu. And interestingly, we see another call there from Ryan. And nice little draw there to fix it in. There it is, waiting on the 1-pin Hellweight Donkey. But you can always switch that to something significantly better. And by better, I mean literally anything. Except maybe something like the June or 1-mon that's already been called.
Con, yes.
There's the con.
Oh no! That adds 3
Ooh, that
Dora.
makes that hand instant Mungon across the way. And you see a bit of hesitation now from Amy. You still have to throw the 7-pin here. I don't like the 2. That seems very defensive. But it's now waiting on Dorotonki, so that will be Hanemon as it finishes. We have Dealer Tempai waiting on 3 so. 2 of those are out already.
This is a crazy hand.
Ooh, and that is Chitoi Tempai. I think that could be a Ricci as well, yeah. So you have 2 people who are waiting just on the 4-mon. There are 2 on the wall because those are the only ones we've seen so far. Oh, and that 3-mon is terrifying.
Yes,
and gets out of Tempai. He says, I'm going to have nothing to do with this. But when you're in Ryan's position, it doesn't matter what you draw. You're just going to push.
Oh man, so we see a fold from Al here.
Yeah, I like the Karagiri 6-pin there because I believe it is safe against the Ricci, or at least reasonably safe. Ooh. Oh, you just have to throw it. Doesn't matter if you want to. You just have to throw it.
No.
Oh.
I'm so sad now.
And this is there's the sumo. Ricci, sumo, Chitoi, Tanya, Dora 2.
Wow.
And the aura, and just like that, we have a Baimon on East 1.
Oh my god. Well, I almost hate to go on that note, but Edwin is here to commentate.
Well, I don't think you're going to have too many hands that are a better option. Take care, Brett.
All right. Nice chatting with you, Korak.
And we'll be getting Edwin set up. Meanwhile, the hands are dealer with decent shapes, but you'd really like to pair up that Dora East, which of course is Yakuhai. There's one across the way, but we'll see where the others are. On the right, we have decent shapes, but no value. Across the way, we have that aforementioned East Dora Yakuhai, but it's just a lone one. Maybe a 6 or 7, 8, 9 Sanshoku. On the left, we have a bunch of pairs, including a pair of Haku, which are Yakuhai. Although I think you're just going Chitoi with that hand at this point. It is actually Ishanten Chitoi. And with that, if we can grab Edwin in, that seems like your cue.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I think I joined in a little late for that last hand too, all things considered. But yeah, if they're gonna go for Chitoi though, that 7 so's gotta go. Like, you got too many central tiles in there if they're really gonna go for it.
Well,
And
I don't really see what else you're going for with this hand.
I don't know either.
Sancho shift. If you're going Toy, it doesn't make any difference.
I think the only reason why he might not, because he could have even switched to the One Chance West at least temporarily, is that I was thinking that he might still consider calling, but now he's just, I guess he is going to go for Chitoi, but again, it's, like I said, I could have even held on to that One Chance West. No, sorry, the West were all dead. Never mind. So yeah, I think well.
Okay,
yeah, I don't know.
That was a mistake. I would have cut the 7-mon there instead.
Yeah, exactly.
Because then you actually do have a path hand to a regular hand.
Yeah.
I like the idea of the potential
Gee.
2 Suji trap, but now it's honestly just starting to look like Chitoi discards. 5, 3, 7 with a 6 pin. All of these Tadashi seems really suspicious. We see a call on the right on the 8 Mon. Maybe a distant Chinitsu because I don't
Gee.
see Tanyao. Speaking of
Uh,
Tanya, the dealer is Tempai.
Yeah, I don't know either. It could have been a long attempt at a K10. I can't really, or maybe just eventually they draw out of some of those that 7-9, for instance. But yeah, much too slow considering that Amy's now Tempai.
Okay, well that draw helps immensely. That does the shift itself. Oh, and there's the 3 so. It would have dealt in, but the shape currently is the 5 so weight.
リーチ
I believe that Senpai across the way, and it is for Riichi Pinfu waiting on 6-9
Riichi.
pin. And we see a Tempai on the left for that Chitoi on that 2-mon Suji trap. It is safe against. It is Suji to both, but the 9 pin may come out anyway because it looks pretty safe.
yeah.
And we'll deal into the Ipatsu, Riichi Ipatsu Pinfu. Not punished with the Oradora, but is enough to win the hand and shut down the other Riichi from Aldwin. Now we move to East 3.
So East 3, and unfortunately, I think for Ryan here, Amy's got a pretty good hand to possibly just shut out his dealership.
Yeah, I think we had a bit of a stream pause there, but the hand from Ryan looks absolutely beautiful. But it may just be the Honitsu only. You'd love to get Toy Toy or even Chanta with that. And now you're thinking, well, maybe we can Eddie Peiko and get some value here. But honestly, I don't want any shape other than a pin draw here. Across the way, we have a pair of Hatsu Yakuhai. Decent shapes otherwise, but I think you're just calling anything there and trying to pick up your 2000 on the left. We have a bunch of pairs. Feels like Chitoi again. And here in front of us with Amy, we see a pair of Haku. Decent
Well, that's
shapes.
definitely Chitoi on the left now.
Yeah, that's
Again,
a Chitoi
yeah.
hand. So I don't
Boom.
know whether your presence, Edwin, has blessed us or cursed us, but it's one of the two.
Well, no, I mean,
Boom.
the Chitoi started happening before I came. So unless we were because of we were trying to get me set up and everything, that was already starting it, I don't know.
Well, anyway, we have Tempai across the way with 2 Dora waiting on 3 6-pin. And I don't think Ryan's is just not coming together.
It isn't coming together at all.
And that's always the problem with these Honits. Oh, speaking of, now it's Ishanten, a very, very wide Ishanten. You could even pwn the pay and wait on Shaw for Chanta. But I see more Chitoi dancing on the left. Dealer's
Well, I
hand's
think
getting very
it's
close.
well, it's not the fact that it's Chitoi dancing. I think he's just hesitant to drop out that Haku because it's no
late,
discard at all.
Someone wants it, and you see someone that it's not necessarily a. Ooh, that is Tempai, but it's a terrible
Gee.
one. I don't think I like that. Just you haven't improved the shape. It is Tempai, and it's getting late. But okay, well if the 3 comes out, it looks brilliant.
I don't know. They might be hesitating after that call.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
double
that's gonna-
deal in. Okay,
Oh.
double road. 2900 and the 3900 across. Ouch. Big deal. I don't know. Ryan taking that Tempai, reading the table and saying they're probably going to push it if they draw it, and they did. So rewarded here. East 3-1. Dealer has Pinfu type shapes. He'd love to pull a 3 so in to connect to that Dora. On the right, we have Pinfu shapes, but not particularly good ones. Maybe a 789 Sanshoku across the way. We again have Pinfu type shapes, but not much there. A bunch of Kanchans everywhere. 3-5, 6-8, 5-7, 1-3. Just yuck. On the left,
And
we have
on
a Pwn
Amy's
of
already
Chun.
called the tunes there, so
Yeah, so you're feeling pretty bad here, but Amy, the rest of Amy's hand isn't that great, especially with the 1, 2, 4, 6, where 4 is Dora. So
No, but I mean, like maybe you think you can get your hand improved and at least just start calling and maybe get something out of it more than anything else. There's a Conchan fill right there with that 4-pin.
that's a huge fill in. Do you cut the 1 so or the 6 one? I cut the 1 so.
I'd cut the 1 so too.
Don't like
Hmm.
the 6 though. The
I
only
mean,
reason to take the 6
maybe
is
they're
it
just
lets
thinking
you.
Suji 3, somebody else will discard it, but
Well, no, the thinking is it lets you pull in another Dora. Because if you have a 2, 4, 6 shape, it's going to be very hard to use that Dora.
well,
So
but I
I
mean,
see
even
the thinking.
not really, because if you draw the another 4, you just discard 2, 6, and you just work with your 5, 6, 6, 7 Manzu, right?
Right, but if you draw it right now, it'd be Tempai with 2 Dora. So that's the
Yeah,
thing.
that's
It's
true.
a very greedy play, which can be good and it can backfire. And we'll see.
Well, nobody's hand was
Oh, and
really
it's
all that
rewarded.
fast, but
It's
you know, and
rewarded
it
there,
is
but the
rewarded
3 so
there.
is completely dead. So unless it comes out like right here, I don't think this hand ever finishes. Is the only person the 3 of those ever coming out from is going to be Q across the way. And I believe he's Tempai now. You had Dama waiting on Tuso for no Yaku, thinking the Ricci only bad weight isn't worth it.
Yeah, which means that 3 is stuck
What?
unless maybe.
Oh, I
Huh.
misread that. That's an 8-6-5, not a 7-6-5.
Oh, okay.
That
Yeah,
was the issue. Okay, now this makes a lot more sense. And there's
still that 3
Tempai
so
for
is probably
Dealer.
going to stay stuck in there anyways.
Yeah, it's never coming out. Dealer's now Tempai for Richidora waiting on the 3-pin Penchon. And there's the Ricci we expected across the table, waiting on Dora. Will just be Richidora. Sumo would be extra Fu, but there is only 1 4 left, and there it is on the right.
And Amy is obviously going to
Oh,
hold
and it's
on
waiting
to
on the
that.
2 Genbutsu. That may come out. Oh. But you may decide to throw it here.
discard
Oh,
the
deals
3.
in with the 3 and deals in. Richidora, that's really rough. Not punished with the aura, but even after that Baimon is back down to 31,000.
Yeah, I looked over there as soon as she drew the 3, and I'm like, well, you have to discard the 3 or the 6, and my guess is, 3 is a
Throw the
little bit
2
more of an edger tile, so you go ahead and throw that.
You could have thrown the 2 so instead and taken the 3-6 Nobeton, but it's about which one do you feel is more likely to come out versus the
Right.
risk of dealing in. I see another very aggressive commitment to Chitoi or Honitsu with the 6 so on the right, but we'll start with dealer as normal. Is already Ishanten for Chitoi, maybe even adding Ipeiko depending on draws. On the right, we have Pinfu type shapes, but feels pretty slow. Across, we have a pair of Haku and decent shapes as well, but you have a few extra honors. And the hand on the left is, as mentioned earlier, either Toy Toy, Chitoi, or maybe Honitsu, given the early 6-so cut over some of those lone honors.
Yeah, I'm sure you could even argue that for that to be like a Honitsu because of the pair of 4s. I think and you can't call anything either unless you go for like a Toy Toy. So yeah, maybe the angle is to go for a Chitoi. But again, if so, I would have kept even the 9 so, for instance, and hucked something else.
Ooh, interesting choice here for Ryan. Do you go for the Pinfu? He is going for the Pinfu shapes.
Yeah. I think in this case, because all the tiles are relatively close together, they're not awkward to deal with. So in terms of shifting over, it shouldn't be too hard.
Well, there's Tempai. It would just be Pinfu, so decides to Dama for now, looking to pull in a 1 so or a 4 so to add Ipeiko. I just Ricci.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is
Especially
it
with
really
that
worth it? Is
early-
it really worth it to try to wait for one of those at this
Sumo.
point? Because now you just see
Oh!
this is one of the cases where I am with you. I would hit the button. Like I don't see any point in waiting for any Peiko there.
Well, if it added Ipeiko and Tanyao, maybe.
But there's no
But
time now because he
instead,
drew the
you've
one
given
mon.
up. Yeah, exactly. So That's a very, very greedy play, and that's backfired pretty rough.
But
But
he's
now
not
has a
punished
bunch
with
of
his high.
pairs.
He's not punished with the high pie here because it looks pretty decent.
Well, it's either Chitoi or maybe in Honitsu now, especially that 9-mon pull. So it looks very nice, especially with the Dora in there. On the right, we have a Haku pair. Great shapes. It's actually already Ishan 10. Across the way, we have very nice Pinfu shapes. On the left, we have not quite Ishan 10, but close with a Hatsu pair. And no, now a Hatsu Anko. So that's looking very good. Even potentially an Itsu shift, depending on what gets drawn.
Yeah, they are Ishan 10, but yeah, they could add some value depending on what they draw. Ooh.
So this is we've seen some greed. We'll see just how greedy.
リーチ
No,
Okay.
no, not
Next,
this time.
Yeah, with a Yaku already, and this is the normal play here.
I think the other reason might be that like she's already bled quite a few points, and maybe this is just to stop the bleeding in a way.
Yeah, this would definitely be a nice sumo. You're talking Richi Sumo Atsu is 4,000 minimum plus. What is that? 1,900. Well, you did throw the stick in, so 900 in the middle is nice as well.
The only thing is, I wonder what Ryan's gonna do here. He hasn't really indicated anything one way or the other. He hasn't really had to indicate one way or the other.
Well, by not throwing the 7, so maybe more or less forcing the Chitoi here. Oh, and there's the backfire.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like it is a central tile. For a Chitoi push, I wouldn't have really have kept that. Oh, now you have to make a decision.
Yeah, well, not Tempai. My mistake.
Yeah.
But I definitely be
Reach.
pushing the 7 so here. And
Well, now it's
there's a
safe.
7 so push, yeah. And that is Tempai across the way for Richi Pinfu Tanya Dora 2.
Gee.
Ouch.
With the 2-5 pin is their weight. I mean, you
Pretty
can tell that obviously like Ryan doesn't need it.
Left, my
And
bad.
it's say again?
2 left because we're seeing 3 5-pin and 3 2-pin. So it's actually pretty bad. We
Oh,
better not go them out
oh.
because it's safe against the
It's- it
dealer,
is safe
I
against-
guess.
Yeah,
And
it's-
the early Richi, but that hurts and deals in for the Mongon there. And Q gets back in the swing of things and right near second place all of a sudden.
Yeah, so after all the shuffling around, like everybody's relatively close to middle, except for the fact that Panda's probably, you could argue that Panda maybe just won a hand off of Aaron, and that's kind of what the difference is. Just way everything looks like it, but yeah.
Yeah, pretty close. We move into East 4. Dealer has decent shapes, not great though. Maybe 1, 2, 3 Sunjuku, maybe just a Dora. On the right, we have Pinfu shapes, pretty nice ones. Across the way, I have maybe Honitsu, distant Chinitsu, but I think you take what you can get. On the left, we have Itsu in So, and a bunch of other than that, really bad shapes with a 1, 3, 5, 8, 9. Anytime I see something like that, I just go, yuck.
Amy with 2-so draw probably could shift to something more standard, and rather than trying to maybe force a Honitsu out of that.
Yeah, but okay, it's just going to be Richi only then. Do you want that? I think you just call and go for the Honitsu at this point. The problem is the 5-so being Dora means that 4-so is going to be hard to get. Of course, if you draw the 1 yourself, that'd be fine.
Yeah, I mean, the only other
Ooh.
thing I'm thinking about is those
Gee.
those three honor tiles. You have to pair one of those up unless you just start drawing Pinzu straight up, right?
Well, at this point, I think you're just going to call and see what happens. Or just draw it yourself. That's always the plan.
Yeah, I was saying they draw a lot of Pinzu, then it's fine. But you already have one Haku and one East out, or one Chun and one East out already. So
Maybe a Chi as well. Oh, decides to pass on that. I think I'd call that because that at least gets you to Ishan 10.
and it might confuse what they're thinking they're waiting for. I don't know. Maybe they suddenly think they have a Yaku
Yeah, then it's
hiding
not
there somewhere.
Chanta. Yeah, because then it eliminates Chanta. You lose a lot of options. But this is the problem with that pin weight across the table. Is, oh,
Chi.
well, now you'll just Chi.
Now
You
you
have
call that.
potentially Itsu as well. But you have all these extra honors that aren't doing anything in the hand.
No, but by waiting on one that's already been discarded, I think you're more likely to get it.
Oh, and there's your pair of the fives. The question is which way. We'll be looking for the Tumon. As well, of course, the 7.
And
Oh,
there's
okay,
the
there
pair
you
of the
go.
tunes there, so now you're not even needing to wait on the Tonki there.
Will be only Honitsu.
Right.
Waiting on the
There's no
green 6.
Itsu.
Oh,
Well,
that's a big draw.
wait,
I think,
yeah.
yeah, got the 5. That's what, a 4-sided weight?
3,
Okay.
4, 6, 9,
And Chun.
and Chun.
And that 6-pin. You see the pause by Q.
Uh,
Throws it anyway, though, and will deal
Oh.
in to the Honitsu. Yeah, it's not the expensive end. It could have
No,
been
it's not.
Itsu, but still, you're not happy when you deal in, especially the Honitsu, but it's as cheap as it's going to get.
Yeah, and so Aldwin took a small hit there, but with his dealership now here in South 1, might get a chance to get some of those points back.
And we have South 1. Dealer has a Yakuhai pair of Non. Non is also the door indicator, so Shaw will be Dora. But cutting the 9 Mon immediately, I don't really like. You're giving a very distant. Oh, and that's why. Is you're giving a very distant Sanshoku option and keeping it in exchange for giving up a not so far off Itsu. He's now just going
Not
to
so
go
far,
for a fast
Sanshoku
path.
is,
Yeah, not the Sanshoku I was expecting, but you could have had that anyway. We'll be looking to pull in the Tumon and Tuso. But the hand on the right is
Chi.
Ishan 10 already, though no value in it. Across the way, we have Pinfu type shapes as well, also Ishan 10. On the left, we have a Honitsu or Shinitsu, but a long way off as you'd expect given the first call.
and Q having paired up that 4 pin isn't going to get his Sanshoku, but will at least gain Pinfu out of it.
And of course, if you draw another 4 pin, that'd be even better. Then you get the Tanya on top of everything.
And you get the Sanshoku back for sure.
Ooh, yeah. He is given the option for the 4, but you don't take it because you're not actually helping your speed or value.
Not at all.
Nice little
Xeno's
one-so draw.
Honitsu is getting a little bit better.
Yeah, but it's still terrible. On turn 9 to still have 3 Yakuhai, none of which are paired up. We see the live Dora, or not live, it's the Dora
No.
discard, because there
Ryan
was one
discarded it
cut by
earlier.
Ryan.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
well,
that-
now it's starting to look better. Now it's Ishan 10. This again would be a Honitsu only, or Bakahon.
Yeah, and you have 2.
Oh, okay, we'll just draw that. Now it's Ishan 10, and maybe you're even thinking a Toy Toy. Oh, I don't like that. I understand the idea because. Oh, wait, no, it's completely dead. Isn't it? Yeah, okay,
The
so that was
2
completely dead. I understand. Yeah, now that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
And this also gives you options, but you can't ever get Toy Toy from it. Maybe a Sananko Sumo is an option. Oh,
It
that's
has to
7
be a
so
sumo
getting
at this point,
thrown.
right?
Yeah. Ooh, that is not Tempai. Now throws the 3 so is now in a perfect Ishan 10. Ryan is, and Tempai on the right for no Yaku.
Yep, going for K10.
And now we have, there's the pawn of 1 so, and now Tempai waiting on 4-7. And that
And
would
again,
be a
at this
5,200
point,
hand.
he's gonna have to draw that himself. I don't imagine anybody dropping Sozu now.
Yeah, now you've had multiple overflows, especially with the 1. It's like anything else is going to be late. Oh, we have Tempai on the right. And I
just
agree
keep the
with this.
K10, right? Yeah, so
Yeah. Wow, that 9 so is actually a pretty aggressive push, but it passes. Ooh, do we con? Con for the Rinshan only? Oh. Oh. Ooh,
you could
Tempai.
you could argue that might actually have been a good play because you see the Dora Wests out, nobody's declared Ricci, and we're late.
Ooh, do you dare throw the 3 or the 4? Does throw the 3. That is gutsy. And the rest of the odds go, oh my god. But we're gonna end up with all 4 players
4 players
Tempai. I missed
Tempai.
that across the way, yeah. Did manage to pull in the shape in so we have 4 players Tempai. And that's a huge hand. Nothing happens, but it's still a huge hand. You think of all the potential there. Dealer has a bunch of really bad shapes, maybe a distant Itsu in Mon, maybe a 2-3-4 Sanchiku. But again, the shape's pretty bad. On the right, we have Pinfu type shapes and Adora. Across the way, we have a Hatsu pair. For Yakuhai, maybe Honitsu, but I think it's just a relatively fast hand. On the left, we have Pinfu type shapes as well, but you have 2 pairs with a 5-pin and the tone.
Which, I mean, you can easily get rid of the tone anyways, so it's not like as if that's a big of a deal.
Right. The easier way to think of this hand is a Ryonkon with an extra 5-pin.
Yeah.
And that's the 1-3-5 shape. But keeping the 5 is also another interesting option. You can wait for the potentially Peiko upgrades, but considering you already have potential overlap with the 2-3, I don't mind the 5 on discard.
Mm.
Pon.
And there is the Pone of the Hatsu. As mentioned,
already
Ryan's
Tempai.
hand is looked to be the fastest, and it certainly appears so.
I don't
Yeah.
see a 9-so anywhere else, but I imagine if anybody else draws it, they're probably chucking it.
Yeah. And even if you deal in, it's going to be 1,300, so you don't care that much.
Nah.
Pon.
So it's, oh well. Dealer is now working towards Tanyao, but the shapes are still pretty bad.
Yeah, you could argue that there might be a long shot Sanchoku depending upon what he draws. There's one that helps.
Okay, yeah, especially if you call the 3-pin. But if you draw the 3-mon or call the 3-mon first, I think you just take the wider weight.
Yeah, for just being dealer, you just want to win the hand first and foremost.
Oh. But the question is still, where are the 9-so? Because we know they have to come out sometime. Now the wall says, oh no, they don't.
Yeah, in the meantime, everybody else I think is starting to catch up with their hands.
Unfortunate with the 2-so.
I mean, what can you do? You already had the pair of 6s. It's not like you're going
Yeah.
to switch to a Ryonkon weight with a 2-4-6 or anything like that.
Harigiri on the 2-pin. I don't mind it. It's one that kind of baits that you're very likely waiting on something around there. And there's the 3-mon, and that could end up dealing in. It doesn't look that safe against anyone, though.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe they discard the 1-3.
this.
Yeah.
And there's a Con, adds North as Dora, but no one has any.
But he's getting Tenpai.
Yeah, you'll take the Tempai. And now both are waiting on the 3-mon. But, of course, Ryan is also waiting on the 9-so, and there's the first one.
Yeah, there it goes.
And it comes out and immediately yields in. And that was the question the whole hand is, when is it coming? And the answer is, it'll be there eventually. But we move to South 2, and dealer has 4 pairs, maybe Toy Toy, maybe Chi Toy, distant Chanta, but I think you're going to go for a set or pair-based hand. On the right, we have Pinfu type shapes. Across the way, we have a bunch of floating on or Yakuhai, and decent floating tiles in the middle with 7 in each suit, 7-5, 7-4, and 7-3-4-5. On the left, we have Tanya type shapes. I'm trying to think what else you're going to make with that hand. Maybe just Ricci.
Not much, really. And you just you gain another pair. Yeah, those are one of those hands that you just kind of like look at, you just kind of tilt your head, and you don't really know what you're going to do with. And if you end up drawing pairs, then you just kind of figure, well, it's just about as good as anything else.
Yeah, well, Zeno across the way has that pair of Yakuhai non. It's just going to try and play it straightforward now. Was tempted by the Honitsu, but now the shapes in pin are actually starting to look good too. Kind of regretting throwing that 5-mon earlier. There's also a 3-4-5 Sanshoku potential.
Trying to think about whether or not
Honestly,
they
I
want to call
cheat
here.
this.
I would
Yeah,
probably call too.
the hand's just so bad.
It's so far
Other than
away.
that,
You
yeah.
you need to at least show that you're making progress compared to the rest of the table. Might force other people to make a different decision with their hands.
Right.
Instead, at this point, everybody else is just kind of figuring we're all scuffling here. So
The answer is that's exactly what's happening. We have a couple hands that are fairly close but don't have any value.
there's the Dora, but again, with all the pairs, what exactly are you gonna do with that?
It's the end. It's the end of the cheat toy because I think that's the only way that hand finishes now. With the
Well, no,
9
it's still Chitoy is probably still the only way you could go. You just have to hold on to the Dora.
Right, and I'd be getting rid of this 3, so
Boom.
I don't like it sitting around. As the door indicator is always hard to get anyway, and if that's your final weight, it's very likely to be used in other hands.
The other thing is Sozu expensive. Like here, I'd actually discard the 6, and then I could discard the 8, and then maybe wait on either the Suji or if I have to the Dora.
Now 2-7
I would have discarded the. Well,
no, with 2-7
okay,
out,
2-7's
I like
out.
that one. Yeah. Well, this is always a problem with cheat toys. You have to establish.
To me, it's debatable because of the fact that.
Oh, that's an annoying draw. That's like the most annoying draw imaginable. Because now, like, if I draw 8-pin, maybe I don't go cheat toy.
And you can't even call that either.
No, you can't. If you do it, you're calling for K10.
And it's early for that.
Oh no! Actually, that's a good weight. That's a good draw. Cut the 3.
Yeah, I either cut the 3 or the 2. The thing is with Chitoy is I never really want to wait on a tile that hasn't been discarded, even if it's an honor. Because yeah, to me it just seems a little obvious. I'd rather at least have some deception in there because Chitoy is already a hard hand to get anyways. And yes, you're making it harder because there's one less tile, but realistically speaking, like if you don't see it out there, people probably aren't going to discard it unless they're actually pushing. Now, if you know that's happening, then maybe. But I've never really been a fan of necessarily waiting on a tile that's not been discarded. Unless it's Dora, then I don't have a choice.
Well, yeah, if it's Dora, Riichi Sumo Dora 2 is Mongon anyway. He'll take any bad shape. Besides, not to throw the 4-mon, it's pretty much safe against everyone. I'd have just gotten rid of it.
Well, the only other thing I can think of is that they're wanting that to be their final weight, which I can understand. But like I would have discarded even the E sooner than that. Again, because I actually don't see any E's.
Well, we have Tempai across the way waiting on 6, so.
Because they're going for
and it's in your discard. Yeah, I think you just give up at this point.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're actually going to get to Tempai, I think you're probably folding here.
If you get to Tempai, you just jam it, and you deal it, and you go, oh.
Unless you pair up the 6 somehow.
Yeah. Wow. The 1 doesn't matter. You're perfectly safe here.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's not Tempai. Does force dealer to another discard, though. Yeah.
That's just a lot of scuffling there.
Well, that's how I view cheat toy. That's how cheat toy always happens in my hands. As you're playing around, you're always guessing wrong, and eventually, then the end of hand comes. You don't even get the Tempai.
Now look at Amy's hand this time around. She's not dealer anymore, but look at that.
That flow. I wish I could get some of that. Anyway, dealer has probably Itsu in Mon. Distant 799 Sanshiko option as well. On the right, we have Pin Fu type shapes, maybe a distant Itsu in Pin. Across the way, we have Pin Fu shapes, maybe you need Peiko in Upper Mon. And on the left, we have, ooh, that's a great tile to call. Chi.
Yeah, I mean,
This
you're
is one that
going-
would not take me that
yeah,
long to call.
Yeah, it wouldn't take me that long either. Like you're looking at, you're hopefully your best chance. You're looking for Honitsu with at least 2 Dora. If you're lucky,
Hon-
3.
Well, maybe even Hanemon out of this. You're looking to pawn the Hatsu, pair up Dora, and that gets you to Hanemon with the Honitsu. And even if you don't, if you pawn the Hatsu and you just make everything else the way it is and end up discarding the Dora, that's still Mongon.
Can you imagine if they actually managed to get Chanta out of this too?
That would be disgusting, but and Dealer is sitting here looking at that shot and going, yeah.
yeah.
And on the right, Zeno's also looking at that guy. I don't like
holding
that.
on to that West and kind of being like,
Well,
"Eh."
you just throw it in. There's no reason. I do not like the Dama one bit.
Yeah, like Amy's gonna push regardless, so it's basically like having somebody else reachy.
It's trying to get over 30K, but that doesn't matter as much when you're a South 4 dealer.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're a South 4
Yeet.
dealer. How much does that really? I guess it's the way to turn, but
I always despise that. I don't think
the
it
only
does
the only
anything for
thing
you.
is that the weight's the 4/7 mon, and maybe you might want to, even if you're trying to play redirect and distract people, you look at their discard pile and there is no middle Monzu, and with that 8 mon and 3 mon, if you believe in Ida Yonken, that's 4, 5, 6, 7. That's exactly his weight.
Ooh, now we have Tempai on the left on 1/4 pin, and it will be Mongon if that
oh.
wins. So how many outs are we talking about on both ends? The 4/7. Oh, there's the Sumo! With the Hatsu non-Honitsu. And Amy's back in first.
And right when it well, almost right when it matters. They're still South 4, but they have the lead going into all last.
Amy's gains have been a roller coaster of hands just like that, with big wins, big deal ends. You look at her stats, and they're just absolutely crazy. It's a really wild ride, but moving to South 4, Dealer has a call of the now pulls an Adora. Decent shapes as well. I think he's got the 3-pin here. On the right, we have, I don't like the 2 so much. You're guaranteeing your pair. I'd rather leave you the option to call the 3 mon. But anyway, on the right, we have a bunch of pairs, maybe Toy, maybe Chi Toy. Decides to pass the 4 so probably thinking Chi Toy or even, cuts the Dora. Interesting. I'm not quite sure what the hand is now. Brute forcing 2, 3, 4 Sunch.
No, my guess is that they're going to try to push for they're in last.
Blanco?
So that maybe Sonanko, if they're lucky, Suanko, and holding the door is not going to help that.
Well, we'll see. Dealer saying, okay, I've had enough of this. And is now Tempai waiting on the 7 mon for non-Dora. Across the way, we have decent shapes, but not this late compared to Dealer. On the left, we have a Hatsu pair, and you're probably just looking to call that and take your second place. But there's the Sumo of the 7 mon.
Yeah,
And
I
it
was
is
going to
the
ask why
non-Dora.
Alvin might have discarded the 2 4-sos if he was trying to push for like a Sonanko shape, but I guess it doesn't matter here in the end.
Well, Dealer has decent shapes, but you'd really like to pull a 5-pin in. On the right, we have Chanta possibilities, the pair of Haku, but not really the hand you want. Well, that Dora will fix problems. Dora always tends to fix problems.
There's that 5-pin.
Wow, Dealer has a really wide Ishan 10. Across the way, we have Pinfu shapes as well. On the left, we have a whole bunch of floaters. I called 8 pins, so I'm not quite sure what shape you're going for there, but may end up cutting the Dora.
Well, now you're
Yakuhai
cutting 9/7. Are you cutting 9/7 mon here at this point?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Oh, they didn't though.
I don't like it. The other thing is, if you keep the 1/4 weight, you have Sotogawa with that early 3-so discard.
Exactly.
Because that's something I was thinking out earlier, is I would have cut the 9 so earlier, just in the off chance you get the Peiko upgrade, which you would have here. Ew, that's Tempai. I don't take it. I throw the 9 mon. Especially with 1 8 mon out already. Instead, Dama's it. Now, we know all the 8 mon are accounted for. But if you're not going to take the... Yeah, see... This is
Yeah, I was
always
like,
the problem.
I that's what I was thinking. It's like, yeah, I know that 9-mon does make sense to a point, but I think that
There's the Peiko.
I think the 1 so discard was really the mistake.
Well,
リーチ
does get to Tempai. Will be Ricci Pinfu waiting on the 3/6 mon, and that's actually pretty good on the wall with 5 left. Will just be Ricci Pinfu, but you'd absolutely take it. You're just trying to get over that 30k.
But they're gonna have to draw it itself. Like that was the first Monzu discarded, and that was the Ricci.
You might see a Monzu discarded. Ooh, we see a Khan. Very aggressive play.
Well, Khan now with 4 Dora.
Yeah, it does tend to help your chances of winning. Oh, and there's 3 on. Yeah, okay. Seems to mostly be folding. May push for Tempai. We'll see. And the question is, do you call that and throw the 7? I would. Yeah. You'll take your Oni shunt. And you think that Mon aren't going to push? I think they might.
Is gonna push now.
Well, yeah, exactly. As you get closer, you have that option. The 8 so looks pretty safe here.
Yeah.
Unless you think it's Toy Toy on the left. This is the Sotogawa I talked about earlier with the 7 so the 8 so should look relatively fine. Three pins safe. Oh, and now Yishan on the right as well. No, that is not Tempai.
Not Tempai.
Ooh, interesting. There's a 6, and that is a Tempai. That's a call. Yeah, it takes the Tempai waiting on the 5. There are none left in the wall.
Yeah, and it's way late.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
I mean,
you're gonna. There's no way to avoid this.
well, you can't throw the 5 since it just came out. I gotta say that 3/6 looks terrible. It does deal in though.
Yeah.
Ricci Pinfu. If you don't get punished with Aura, it's not that different as if you had to pay out Tempai payments.
Yeah, and you figure at that, even at that late stage, you have to hope that maybe you get it. All right.
Yeah, there maybe is some weird cheat toy that was backed into, but no, it's a standard Ricci Pinfu and not punished with the Aura, so that does move Aaron into second place and over 30k, and has a Pinfu Tanya hand, pretty good. On the right, we have Pinfu hand, but not as good. A lot of pairs as well across the way. 3 pairs and not much else. And on the left, more pairs. 4 of them and maybe Tanya, but you have 2 Dora, so 3 Dora.
3 Dora.
Now you're just looking to call.
I just going calling, yeah.
Yeah, Tanya, Toy Toy, anything.
Also, you're welcome. No, I can't deny anymore with all these pairs coming around here.
This is your fault. But you do see the open across the way with the 8 so just going for the Tanya here. Figuring the hand
getting a lot better here. Still
yeah,
looking for a pair, but
well, what about a 3-sided weight?
Yeah.
Oh, and a 3 comes in. It's not Tempai, I don't believe.
Not Tempai, but
it's a very wide Ishan, though.
It's very definitely wide.
Oh my goodness, look at that on the left.
You'd have to discard the Dora if you're gonna go for cheat.
It depends what. Oh, you just pwn.
Yeah, now you call.
Yeah, the 4. The question is, do you call this if you're Aaron. And yeah, I agree with not taking. Ooh,
Each.
this is Tempai, but it's ugly. Yes, the 3/5 Champone, but 5 of them are in the hand.
Oh,
Let me see all the 5 so remaining in the hand of the right.
so
The
they're down to the
question
final 3-pin.
Yeah, Ryan's
Or
like,
three-
well,
three
we'll go
so.
for the toy. 3, yeah, they both look bad, but just given how Ryan's been playing, I understand that this could usually be a push.
Well, actually, with the Ricci stick, that would put him in first if he wins.
Well, now it's Toy Sononko even. Tanya,
Ay,
this is
ay, ay.
Hanemon. And Sumo's Baimon, I believe. I mean, you're absolutely pushing this, no question. The 3s, of course, are locked, but there are 2 7-mon left.
Sumo.
And there's
My
one of them. There's the. Oh my goodness. And it is the
Oh!
Baimon. And the rest of the table goes, what just happened?
What? Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Oh.
Whoa. Okay. After catching my breath, we have Ryan there with a big first off that Baimon in all last with a 31.4. And that should get him out of the demotion zone completely. Amy with a second place, 8 points. You have Aaron losing 13.1, taking the recovery on that last hand. And Aldwin just couldn't get a hand together and minus 26.3.
Oh, I'm finally catching him. Jeez.
Wow. And all of a sudden, these standings started getting very scary for everyone in
Well,
that demotion zone.
I mean, Ryan picked himself out of demotion with that win there.
Yeah, that
So
was huge. Now in 11th, of course, not that far ahead of the cut line in 13th with 61.6.
but if you were sitting it down at like -80, -90, I mean that you'd rather be on the right side of the relegation zone than on the wrong side, really.
Absolutely. I was in the demotion zone earlier this season. It's not a comfortable place to be. And I have a monster of a match next session that I'm already worried about. But you look
Yeah,
at these
so
results, and it's just a
well,
matter of staying out of those bottom 4.
yeah, and Amy again is safe. It's Ryan, Aldwin, and Aaron that are all trying to like climb over themselves to get out of the relegation zone.
And they pulled Aldwin back in with them. So we have a huge jumble of people, starting with Tucker at minus 50.5, all the way down to Claire at the very bottom, who couldn't put it together in those last 2 games, but he isn't even that far out of range. You could easily have a plus 80, plus 100, you still have 2 sessions. So,
Well, and again, because
honestly,
well, at this point, Claire would be hoping for Aaron to win this game and then have Ryan and Aldwin be negative, because then you're
now
going to have a huge mass of people around the 50, 60 point range.
Claire is a
And
huge
so,
Amy fan. You look at where everyone is, and Claire just wants Amy to get a plus 100.
yeah, that'd be the other option. Like I said, I think she could also live with Aaron taking a slight first, but then Aldwin and Ryan being taking negatives, because then again, like I said, that puts a huge that narrows it even further that she might be able to climb out of.
But we have the last game of this set coming up now. Dealer has a very nice hand with the double tone, a Dora, possible Chanta,
Concha
possible Sancho.
Sanchoku.
Yeah, all sorts of good stuff. On the right, we have Pinfu shapes, maybe a distant Sancho, but I'm not really seeing it. Across the way, not much. Bunch of floaters on the left. Again, not very much. Maybe 1, 2, 3 or 2, 3, 4 Sanchoku. Honestly, it looks like dealer's hand's the only good one here.
Amy does pick up at least the 3-pin, could now entertain the 1, 2, 3 Sanchoku.
And the hand on the right is starting to come together, but it doesn't have any value yet. Oh, that Formon. I think you just cut the 3 so, and you're definitely thinking Sanchoku.
Yeah.
Because you can get Sanshoku, Dora, Double Tone. That's your Mongon.
Home.
And there's
Do
the
up the
East.
call
I'm
here.
definitely cutting the 2. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are even toy options, but that's a long way off.
I mean, you're
Yeah,
cutting
you
the
just throw the 6 back.
yeah.
Your alternative is the 9 because you just really want that Dora usage. But if you ended up with just Double Tone and maybe some extra foo, I'd be fine with that too.
Yeah, you continue your dealership, you know, so
Own
it's
that,
not a
easy
problem at all.
bone. Cut the 8. Yeah. Yeah, exactly like this. If the 9 comes out now, you absolutely pawn it and take Tempai. You have the potential upgrade to the Toy, although 2 9 pins kind of make that unfortunate. We're starting to see the rest of the hands develop. We have Ishanton on the right.
Ooh, the 1, 2, 3 Shanshoku really looks like a possibility for Amy now.
Yeah, you just call at this point. Dealer's already looking plenty scary.
Or that
Ooh,
Dora
just
discard,
cuts the
how scary do
Dora.
they look now?
Now you're going, what the heck? Of course, you also may have Ryan looking at his discards and going, oh. 3 pairs sitting there in your toy style hand. No, I do not like the Dora discard there. I
Yeah, 'cause
understand
the
not wanting
night-
it around later, but you've lost so much efficiency.
Well, not only have you lost efficiency, but everybody else now looks at your hand and go, well, how big is it really? Okay, he has Double
Toy
Tone,
or
but
nothing, yeah.
what else has he got?
Home.
There's an okay, so we would have ended up in the same place anyway, but Dora coming out now, I feel, tells a lot less about your hand.
Exactly. And you'd imagine that. I mean, I can't imagine a Pinzu coming out here. Like well,
Holding that and cutting the 6.
yeah.
Home.
Waiting on that 3-so Ginbutsu. And this is another one of those problems by cutting that Dora. Oh no. Okay, well there's the last 3-so. It's now locked up in the hand of the right. And Dora would be scary, but isn't now. Ooh, now I think you switch.
Now you
got the
discard
9.
7, wait on the 9, yeah.
Oh, there's only 1 9, so it's an interesting choice. I honestly like the 7 a little bit more. Since it just came out.
Yeah, I could see that.
Like, regardless, you're hoping to switch the weight to basically anything else. Is that Shaw? This is when you go. How many are out? 1, 2. I like
Still
Jigoku
one
Donkey Shaw
live.
more than Jigoku Donkey 9 pin.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Ooh, 1's actually a decent weight as well, but I think your other problem here is your hand is looking like on Roto.
Good point. But if that's the case, then you'd want to. If that's the case, you would have discarded the 9 pin, right?
Oh, I hadn't even thought about it in those terms, but yeah, that's another argument for the 9 pin earlier.
I wonder if Ryan
well, that
recognizes
could have
it.
improved
I'm
his
not sure.
shape.
I'm not sure he does. I think he's just thinking
Usually,
9 pin, edge tile, Tonki weight. Normally it'd be fine, but given the rest of your calls, that 9 pin looks scary.
Yeah, we have 2 players, Tempai. We did get a question in Twitch. Why is call plus Ricci a meaningful stat? And the answer is it's of debatable usage, but it does tell you how actively you're playing. Basically, are you sitting and watching hands develop and just kind of jumping in, or are you aggressively taking control of the table and forcing everyone to play not necessarily the slow, closed way they may be accustomed to? And it means a lot more, especially in the higher ranks, because in especially A1, but to a lesser extent A2, you're not necessarily going to play the same way, against every opponent. You're going to want to mix up your styles,
Boom.
try and match the speed of the table while extracting as much value as you can.
Ryan
But
here
we
is
see a
called
call
the
of
ninth,
ninth.
so
Yeah, it will be Otozuke. Ooh, that's an interesting draw. I mean, obviously you're going to call the Chun and wait on the Nobetan.
I guess this is another way. Like he might think, my hand's not going to be expensive anyways, so people might just be willing to throw out those honors regardless.
I mean, it's certainly possible, but I think I'm usually much more aggressive Otozuki than most people. And I
Oh,
really
Amy's
like this just because the tiles themselves. Yeah, I definitely
Amy's
reached that a
Tenpai
while
and
ago.
hasn't reached.
And that Shaw is just such a good weight. Who the heck waits on that?
I
But
mean, I
anyway, I
would,
guess we have,
but
yeah, because Chitoi, it's not a
Yeah.
bad weight. But normally, for people who are not addicted to drawing 6 pairs and then declaring no 10 payments at the end, we have Dealer with a pretty standard hand. Is it now Otozuke? And now you've drawn the 1, and the Sumogiri Riichi, which I think is what it's going to be, is going to make everyone, what the heck are you doing?
yeah. I mean, I guess the argument could be made that they were trying to wait for a better weight and then just gave up trying, but
Well, see, and this is the other. Well, now you have Tenpai waiting on Chun, and the two of them are locked across the way. So the question is, do you chicken out and end up dealing in? The answer is maybe, but not yet.
and that's the other thing. It's like Ryan could have possibly had a Honitsu, but by calling the 9th, so that effectively ruled that out as a possibility.
Yes. Oh, it may come out right here.
Really, even though it's no cut.
Well, that 2 felt really scary to me. It is Suji, though, so it does get out of there and is keeping Chitoi Ishan. That's not the tie you wanted for the Chitoi.
Okay,
There it
now the
is.
chunk
Like I
comes
said,
out.
it does come out.
Huh.
And it is the 1 Han, but you get the Riichi stick in the home, but for 3,300.
Yeah, not too shabby for that way the
Aaron's
hand
been
started.
very defensively, and this is one of those things you need to be paying attention to at the table is, are people taking advantage of the hands they get? And we saw some times when he'd fold from questionable positions, just afraid of dealing in. And if you know that's going to happen, then when they get in a situation where they will run, they'll often take it. Just say, oh, we'll move on to fight for the next hand. And if you can sit on a Yakuhai like that, especially if they pair it up there, it's going to look very safe. But anyway, we have Dealer here with a Hatsu pair, maybe a distant Chanta, but I think you're just calling and going. On the right, we have Tudora, probably Tanya. Across the way, we have possibly Peiko with the 1-2-3 pin, and Pinfu as well. Maybe even Chitoi, maybe even Rion Peiko. Can we
No
dream?
Chichoi. Yeah, Ron Peiko would be the way you'd be looking at if you're going to go for quote unquote Chichoi in this sense.
On the left, pretty standard Pinfu as well. Most likely end up waiting on the Dora. Ooh, now I need Peiko upgrade. So that hand looks a lot better all of a sudden. Interesting choice there by Ryan to cut the 8-mon. I think I just cut the Haku.
I was going to say cut the
keep
Haku.
the Chitoi options, and you can still go for regular hand anyway.
It's kind of awkward. I mean, you get
Boom.
Well, now you just call and go. Yeah, that's an easy play. I'm probably going to be stuck on this 2-mon. We see 2 of them in the hand to the right, but could draw it. I just wish you could get more value from this. That's my big problem with this hand.
Well, it's more value, and you're trying to avoid a terrible weight here, and I'm not sure you can.
I don't think you can. Even if you do get the 2, you're still stuck on most likely a 1-5 Shampone. Ugh. Yuck.
G.
And on the right, Aldrin says, thanks, I'll take that, and go Otozuke Tenpai with the hidden Dora 3, waiting on that 4-so. And Ryan says, okay, enough's enough. We'll do some shifting, get off that 2.
Reach.
And
There's a
Tenpai across the
Ricci.
way for Ricci, Pinfu, possible Sanshoku, and Adora. And you could Chi here for Tenpai, but then there'd be exactly 1 left.
Sumo.
Oof.
Oh, and there's the Ipatsumo, Ricci, Ipatsu, Sumo, Pinfu, Dora.
Not the expensive side, but it's still rather expensive.
Mongon, you say, we'll take it. And move to East 2. Dealer
finally-
has
or-
the decent
finally has a-
shapes, maybe?
I think it's not bad, but I guess looking at it again, it's still somewhat
Pretty bad.
unwieldy.
I think you just brute force Jun-Chun. I'd have actually cut 5 pin or 4 so on it. Because I'm not seeing much else here. These are terrible shapes. On the right, we have a Chun pair, maybe a Honitsu, but that seems a long way away. I think you're just calling and hoping to pull in a Dora. Across the way, I have a Haku call and a Dora. Ishanten already. On the left, we have possible Itsu in Mon, a Dora as well. But again, a bunch of awkward shapes with the 8-9 Penchons in 2 suits.
His hand is just it really doesn't look good in this. I guess the East helps,
Well,
but there's
there's your
already one.
option. Yeah,
The
well, I don't
problem is
care.
one of those. It's already one cut, and you're like,
It's
where's
getting
that
late.
last one?
I don't. Yeah, I don't think you have any other options at this point.
No, you don't. No, you don't. But it's not great for sure.
No.
Amy is slowly walking towards a possible Sanshoku Chanta here.
Oh my goodness, that'd be disgusting. Would needing
Because
9.
it was 4, 5, 6, then became 5, 6, 7. Now
There's
it's 6,
your
7,
tone.
8.
Now we have Ishun 10 for dealer. That's a lot better. It seems a little afraid to throw the 8 pin. And does, yeah, after thinking about it for a while, yeah, it's not worth anything in this hand. Especially here, you already have an external pair. If you draw a door, you can always take the 5-5-7 shape. Because the 5 pin right now is not very good, having 1 out and it being connected to the door indicator. We see a pawn on the right on the Chun. So now Ishun 10.
Does cut the 8. I
There's
imagine
the
that
8.
being
Yeah,
called.
that's going to be a Chi. Oh my goodness. And there's the pawn. We have 2 players Tenpai across the way for Hakudora for... Oh my goodness, that 6 is scary. Gets pwned on the left, and there's going to be
There's
the
the
9
9.
deal, and oh my goodness, that was a lot of act just like that. Deals in for the 2000. Can't pull in the Chanta Sanshoku, but close. And we
Does
move
get them
to East
over
3.
30,000 though.
Yeah, it's East 3. You're not that concerned about it, but it's always nice. Bunch of pairs here. Everything's in the outside. Toy,
Dora.
Toy, Toy, 2 Dora. I think you just brute force Chanta. His first discard's actually very hard.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is,
I don't mind the 1, but I'm wondering if you want to get rid of one of those Yakuhai instead. Okay, now you have things that are connecting. You think more about it. On the right, we have possible 1, 2, 3 Sanshoku, also kind of a Jun-Chan hand. Across the way, we have Pinfu shapes. Probably not Tanya because the 8, 9, and 7, 8 with Pin and Mon. On the left, we have Pinfu type shapes, Tanyao. Pretty standard hand.
So back to when you were talking about the whole Chanta thing and Aaron dropping the 8 pin. Couldn't you have still just dropped one of the Yakuhai because there was already one, like, say there were already a couple of Hakus already discarded? So you could have just discarded that and kept the 8-8-9 shape for now.
Well,
Not
just
that it would've
fishing for
mattered,
anything
but-
to call. But now it's completely locked into Chanta, and you see the 5 blocks here, and they're all ugly. Okay, well,
That
that's what
help?
you're hoping to do, is to pair one of them up. That really gives you an option to cut one of these 4 horrible blocks.
It also just allows you to call without making it look like a Chanta hand, at least for a while.
Barely a Chanta hand. Ooh, nice little Ishanten on the left here. Wait, no, is that Ishan? Yeah, it is. Because you can use the 6 as a pair. Especially if you draw the 3-mon, you'd be Riichi Pinfu Tanyo. Or that's just as good. Now you have a potential 3-sided weight in So. And this is the problem with these bad shapes. You're seeing they're just not coming together. This is what normally happens. Oh, just as I say that,
Yeah, exactly.
gets 2 great draws back to back. It's now an Ishan 10 and can call anything on that list. This 2 is an
Chi.
easy call. Chi. It'll
And now
be
you could
fun
have
on
3
either
Dora.
out.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think the pair coming out from the hand across, though. The question is,
No,
will the
they're
Hatsu?
not. The last Hatsu, I mean, if you draw the Hatsu, you'd hesitate, but you still might throw it.
They'll
Riichi.
throw it. Yeah,
There's the
there's
Tenpai.
Riichi, the big hand on the left. Riichi, Pinfu, Tanyao,
Chi.
possible Sanshoku.
Sumo.
Gets the sumo.
And there's
cheap
does not
side,
get the
but
Hatsu because of the call, but does get Riichi, Sumo, Pin.
Ah,
Oh, it's Dora
Dora!
2! Riichi, Sumo, Pinfu, Tanyao, Dora 2, and it is Hanemon. Not the way you expected the Hanemon to come, but if you're cute, you'll absolutely take it.
if you're Aldwin, you are taking anything.
Wow. And more pairs. Ew.
No, 2 Dora. 2 Dora.
You see the 2 Dora as well. The question is, can you go for Toy Toy with this hand? And I think the answer is, if the 5 so comes out, yes.
If you
it
get the
doesn't
5, so
come out,
yes. Otherwise, it's going to be hard.
yeah, the 8-mon
Boom.
would stump me a long time, is what I want to call it. Okay, now you're not calling it.
now
It is a
you're
normal
not.
hand all of a sudden. Okay, I feel better now. Chi Toy looks not completely dead, but certainly wounded. On the right, we have pretty nice shapes as well. Maybe distant Sun Anko, but honestly, it feels like Riichi Dora. Across the way, we have an Anko of
Chi.
8 so, and that is actually Ishan 10, potentially a 3-sided weight. And on the left, we have Tenpai already for Hanyao Dora, waiting on 2 5 so. Uh-oh. I think it
Yeah.
yeah, it
Don't.
does. There's the 2 so. Deals in for the 2,000. I don't think there's anything you could do about that. You can't
Nope.
necessarily expect that to happen. You have the 2 4 5. You're gonna have to dump the 2 anyway.
Yeah,
You had a very distant Tanyao path, but I'm just pushing that every time. Right, moving
Exactly.
to Southbound. Dealer has a pair of the non, which is the South Wind, and a Dora, so I think you're just calling going. On the right, we have a pair of Hatsu, a very distant Daisangen chance. Ooh, and now dealer's hand's starting to look really good. Across the way, we have pretty standard Pinfu shapes, maybe 6, 7, 8 Sanshoku, and on the left, we have pretty standard Pinfu shapes, but 2 Dora. You'd love to be able to shift to some sort of calling hand. And that 9-month
Should
definitely
you-
indicates this is a.
I would say you
want
discard the
to turn
Hatsu,
this
right?
on now. I normally cut the Hatsu, though. Yeah, if you draw the
Yeah.
8-mon, you're going to feel a lot of regret. And we're seeing a lot of hands not necessarily
Oh,
developing.
that's another pair. Panda's going to hate this.
Oh my god.
I wouldn't even be happy about this.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to take it, but this is one
Yeet.
where Toy Toy actually looks fine.
Boom.
I'd pawn it.
I'd
I'd say
call.
forget this. Yeah. I think you just go Toy Toy here. I don't really see a way around it. It's ugly. Especially having to dump the 2-4 off a 6. Maybe the idea is the Honitsu. Oh yeah, definitely now. Maybe even Honitsu Toy Toy.
Yep.
No, getting a last 2 so is not going to happen. Because we can see where the last one is, and it isn't going to budge. We see Amy drawing that south wind, and sees this doesn't feel safe and is correct about it, but it's not going to deal in immediately. Ooh, and there's the 3. So I think you pawn it. I think you just go.
Then you
Yeah,
discard
I
the South,
agree.
and that's being
Call,
called.
and then it gets called by dealer. And dealer's throwing Chun does not look Tenpai to me. Ooh, and now the 9 looks safe. Yeah, you're fine with this.
Now that's being
Eight.
called, right?
8, 1 chance that'll get called. The 6 get.
Oh
Oh
my
my
God, it's not the
goodness!
tile you want.
Wow, that's disgusting. Ooh, the 2's pretty safe here as a Suji. You can even get to Toy Toy, Tanya, Dora 3 there on the left. Oh, that 4 looks terrifying.
Yeah.
Does
It
go
goes.
ahead and push it. Now we have Tempai for dealer on Toy Toy.
But all the weights are out.
There's
They're
Toy Toy
gone.
on the left, and it's gonna deal it. Oh my god! Wow!
Yikes! Yikes!
Yeah. And poor Aaron's going, I had this early Ricci.
What the
just
heck happened?
Wow.
ポン
Oh man. Anyway, dealer now has a Yakuhai pair of the Haku. You love pulling a Dora as well. On the right, we have a few pairs, maybe some shapes in Mon that come together but feel slow. Across the way, we have a Shaw Call, which is the Yakuhai, an Anko of 9 Mon, and a pair of Dora. So the pair of Dora, what we're really focusing on for this hand. You'll get extra food from that 9 Mon Anko, though. On the left, we have
Tom
could have
1, 2,
called the
3
first
Sanchoku.
Haku, didn't. Calls the second one now. I was wondering why. Would you have called the first one?
I would with this hand, sure.
Yeah.
Jeez, the axis has been kind of crazy. So if you see a little pause, that's us catching our breath. Ooh, great draw with a 3-Mon there. That really helps this hand. The question is how much you trust that Dora, and says, not much. You'd love to be able to integrate. Even if you don't, it's now a Ryokan shape. You can call the 5 or the 7.
I mean, you'd love to confirm your Sanshoku so you don't have to worry about it, but
Yeah, I think you just take what you can get. The problem is I don't think either is going to be for I think you should the 7-Mon every time. Yeah, you chi this, you throw the Dora. Okay, decides to pass.
yeah, I think
This Dora
I
looks
think not wanting to throw
terrifying.
the Dora. Yeah. I mean, they will if they have to, but I think trying to settle for the confirmed Sanshoku, or half of it anyways, is not ideal.
And Xena doesn't like any of this and seems to be accepting Chi-Toy, throwing the 9 Soanko. Breaking into the pair, we have dealer Tempai waiting on 4 7-Mon.
ポン
Of course, we see almost all of those out. Now dealer
There's
is
the
Tempai. Oh my
5.
goodness, there's a Dama, Pinfu, Dora, possible Sanchoku on the 1. And it looks very safe.
Yeah, I would actually have.
Yeah.
I would have reached you before
I
because
would've-
all the
yeah, I
two
would've
pins are
taken
across
that. Yeah,
over there.
exactly. Ooh, we now have Tempai on the right if you can push the 5. Because you're not pushing. Oh, wait, no, that's not Tempai. Never mind.
No, you're Ishan 10 still.
Yeah.
I think they.
Still pushes the 5 anyway.
Huh.
Well, with 2 Dora, I mean, you're pushing the 7, so. I don't see a reason to fold here. You're in first. I mean, the 9-Mon look reasonably safe. But, okay, just decide to fold. I think it's a little defensive. Oh, and see, now you'd be on a 2-5 weight and you feel great. Where are the 1 pin? It's a great weight, but if they're stuck in the wall, you can't do anything about it.
Yeah, no kidding.
The 4 pin's completely dead, so it's just the 1s. Question is, will dealer finish the hand first? I mean, you could see a con, decides not to.
There's the 1 pin.
The 1. I mean, it
Yeah,
just
it
gets
goes.
to deal it every time. That's going to be Ricci pin for Sanchoku Dora.
Oh, that's so bad for Aldwin. Oh.
And yeah, that's really rough. Brings Ryan back into the big group, knocks Aldwin back under 30K, and we move to South 3. Dealer has decent shapes, maybe an Ipeco.
That
That's
helps.
a nice little draw. On the right, we have Pinfu shapes, but honestly feels pretty slow. Across the way, we have, again, Pinfu shapes. Decent. We can come together, maybe an Itsu in Mon. On the left, again, Pinfu shapes, maybe an Itsu in Pin. So a lot of options going forward, but none of these hands are great. None of these hands are terrible.
Or that expensive right now.
Yeah, nice little fill-in of the Kanchan there across the way for Ryan. He is now Ishan 10, but it would only be for Ricci or potentially. Ooh. Doesn't get greedy there. I kind of want to cut the 8 so and see if I can pull in the 3, 4, 5 Sanchoku.
Really?
Ricci Pinfu with these scores isn't doing it for me.
Yeah, it's true. You are in last.
We have Ishan 10 on the left as well. And Aaron
Where's
decides to cut the
Fedora?
9 pin. Well, there's Tempai on the left. It would be Ricci only.
Yeah, you're not
Dama's
taking
waiting
that.
on 2 pin. See, I don't like these Dama without a Yaku. If you're going to do that, cut the 1 pin and see if you can draw like another 7-mon.
That's
Because if
true.
you draw the 2, are you honestly taking the Sumo? Because I'm not. I'm taking the Furi Tenrichi.
Yeah.
But we see a call for Tanya on the right saying, I'm in first place and I don't want to hang around here. Let's just get this over with. And 6
even
pin
with-
could actually be 4-10 now for Aldwin, but we'll see.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're almost gonna be Furry 10. Like it's almost an inevitability unless you draw the 5.
Tempai on the right for Tanyao. And
Oh.
there's Dora as well. And that's unfortunate for Ryan, but deals into the expensive end, but still only 2,000. We moved to all last.
And Amy, like you were saying before, like if Claire's rooting for Amy to run over the table, technically she is, because everybody else is under 30.
Well, that would limit the damage, of course. Ryan on the back end of this right now would take a pretty big hit, but no one gains anything. And everyone else in the demotion zone would be thrilled with his result, who isn't in this game. And Dealer has Pinfu, Tanyao, maybe 456 Sanchoku. On the right, we have Hatsu pair, maybe a Honitsu. Across the way, we have a Haku pair and a Dora. You go for a little bit more, but I think you're just trying to get over 30K. You don't need to be fancy here. On the left, we have potentially Tanyao, Pinfu, Ipeko. I think you may not even go for the Tanya because, yeah, definitely didn't want to go for the Tanya, cutting the 2-1.
Because the thing is, you're also
Rather.
competing right now. If you're Aaron, you're competing with Aldwin because for all you know, Aldwin can get a 2-on hand, put himself over 30, and now you're sitting in third.
That's a really nice Ishan 10 now on the left. Ooh. Interesting choice. Do you sell out on the Tanya? No, I agree with this. Now, Dealer, on the other hand, I'm calling this. I don't like this Dora sitting in this hand. I would have gotten rid of it a long time ago. Instead, Dealer draws it anyway and doesn't have to worry about it. Now I think you cut that 7. Yeah.
Yeah, you cut the 7 here, don't you?
Huh? Let's see if you draw the 5. That's a beautiful shape.
Is that a timeout, you think, maybe?
No, I don't think so. Well, it's starting to feel like it, honestly. That'd be a horrible way for this to end. We'd have Chitoy on the right, Dama waiting on the 9-mon. I'm not sure why you Dama here. Desperately looking for a... Yeah, you already discarded the Dora.
The Dora, first turn.
Ugh. Ooh, now Tempai for Dealer. Do you reach it? Instead, just takes the Dama here.
Kan.
You see a Con, and now the Super. Oh my goodness! Q escapes. It's a big sumo, 6,400. I don't think it's enough to take over first, but
no, but it's over. You're over 30. You're positive. Yeah,
yeah, that's a huge difference. And Amy pulls out the win with 24.1. Aldwin at least limits the damage from the first game a bit and gets outside of that demotion area. We have Aaron taking a hit, small one, but when you're in the demotion, you don't want to go down, that's for sure. And Ryan taking the big one. and he'll be joining Aaron down there in around 13th spot.
Well, that was a game.
Wow.
The scores look relatively normal, but the way we got there
everything
sure
was-
wasn't.
This whole series, especially all day, but especially these last two games, were absolutely nuts. When you start a game off with a Baimon, that will definitely start you off strong, and then you end with a Rinshon. My goodness.
So
And
with
we
one
now have
table,
the
we have
updated standings.
there's still one table left to play, but for purposes of at least like if we're looking at the demotion zone, that's almost set. I mean, Vincent is still kind of like hovering above there, but like if you look at down near the bottom, you can kind of see your situation that you're in if you're down there.
Right. And you still have two full sessions, although that last session where you have a snake table will be very interesting. The big action going up in the next session, of course, will be in the B2 League because they don't have a sixth session. Their sixth session are available only for people who qualify for playoffs. As the B1, B2 will be having their own playoffs, and B2, B3 splits will also be doing so. But everyone else in B2A, B2B, and B2C will be done after the next session.
Yeah. Yeah, as we try to split up our B2 league because we had quite a few entrants coming in for this season, so it precipitated us having to go back to pools again to try to get everybody split up.
That's absolutely the fair way to do it. As we all had to do it last season, so they get to experience that. I don't know if that's going to be the same situation next season. It'll depend on how many people sign up. But now, first thing to say is follow us on Twitch, subscribe to the YouTube, check out the website at AmericanRicci.org, and any closing thoughts, Edwin?
I don't know because I'm still trying to catch my breath a bit from those last couple of games, but yeah, and I know yes, you can blame me for all the pairs. I know.
In fairness, that Hanemon in, I believe, South 3 was absolutely beautiful. Backing
Yeah,
into that Toy Toy Tanya Dora 3.
Considering it created a lot of action, it's like I'm not necessarily going to apologize too much for it, but yeah.
All right. Well, as mentioned, when you start a game with a Baimon and end with a Rinshon, I don't think we need to say anything else. So thanks for watching. This is Korak, along with Edwin and Brett and Nathaniel back behind the scenes running the cast. Have a good day, everyone. Bye.
Night, everyone.